Bruh.
Thank
Bruh.
God it's on fire.
The remix of it where it's in the minor key, so it sounds like haunting. I can dig it.
One hell of a time. Alrighty.
So like everybody has theme songs now. We really are Power Rangers.
It's a Laura Pleurodon. If you did not understand where that was from, you haven't been on the internet long enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have not.
Josh,
apparently.
it's a Laura Pleurodon.
Charlie. Charlie. Leave the little bird on, Charlie.
They stole my kidneys again. I fucking.
Gonna find a way to Candy Mountain, Charlie.
You know what?
With the place of magical wonder.
If you meet unicorns in this world, you fucking watch yourself. Cause I'm gonna add those assholes in.
Noted.
Go to Candy Mountain with us,
Absolutely not.
No.
Here, Alex, I'll send it to you so you can understand what we're talking about.
On that.
I trust one with a horn on its head.
Matter of fact, to give you an idea on how old this is, this came out in January 10th, 2008. This is
baby.
13 years old.
Ooh.
Yeah. What happened to his hands, Carl? Well, you see, I was
God, that fucking thumbnail.
I was hungry for hands, so I stabbed him 57 times in the chest. Carl!
Oh,
That kills
Why
people.
are only white hands, Carl? Well, you know, Whitey's gotta pay.
Yep. A masterpiece, truly.
Forever remembered throughout the ages and time. Preserved by the internet.
Better be. I hope after the collapse of society as we know it happens, that somebody finds that and you know, it just sits somewhere forever, preserved.
Aliens come and they're like, you know, give us the one video that describes your world. And we just give them llamas with hats, and it's just like...
I imagine,
You know what?
everybody sends their video at once, and this is the video that gets to them first, and they just pull out and leave.
Yeah. Like, it's so fucking bewildering to think about the fact that it's like, there are so many animations you can't see anymore because Flash is dead.
Yeah. I mean, if it's not on YouTube, a lot of those old things are just gone, because so many were hosted on their own, like, websites before video or even like Flash Player was commonly accessible.
Makes me sad.
Wild.
Just to see how much, like, society's attentions, like, short comedy, ASDF movies are just
He's still making them.
Exactly, that's what's fucking hilarious. And they're gold.
Then you got people who started out in fucking Newgrounds and other shit like Curb Gopher and fucking... Well, him with Yu-Gi-Oh! Bridge moving on to actual full professional animation. And then Aaron Hansen doing a full fucking spree with Game Grumps and actually having like a fucking empire of fucking business with that.
Aaron Hansen came from all the way on the bottom and just built something massive.
He did. Him and Curb Gopher, those two are like the fucking magic number to just launch out of Newgrounds. Anyway. Last time on Ashes of Ocean. After finally coming upon an agreement with the current circumstance of the previous tower of the Golden Mountain, finally in ruins as the area had been succumbed to, well, magical dismay at the lightest way of putting it.
Magical fallout.
Literal magical fallout. That area is just permanently fucked.
Yeah.
And removing the various army of Smendo that had taken up roots there and made a fortification heavily in an old peaceful monk's tower. quickly removed the Red Mountain from his post, as well as many guards, after disrupting the orb and causing the magical mishap. To which, after the happenstance, you had managed to not only defeat his army, chase many of them away, but also disintegrate him directly, so there'd be nothing left except the very items you required for him. After quickly dusting this general, and taking a moment to recover, you had taken off on the airship, seeing the arcane fuckery that has basically been happening for the now 2-mile span in diameter of the circle. Quickly heading to Bellanoliko in the far southern reaches of Samindo, away from what was the outpost of the Golden Mountain. You decided to head there and try and find the green glaive that the Emerald Knight Fervor had spoken of. Knowing that you had the green runestone amongst your party, figuring to complete some sets first instead of going out to try and attempt to rob the blue runestone from Sikador at the bottom of the lake next to Shushupaniki. You reached Bellanoliko and hopes to procure this from the long ancestral grave of the Green Knight. After the arrival, you were very quickly waved down between the fact of seeing various Billistae and arcane cannons and other fortifications that you could see on this more arid lands as it was encroaching upon the greenery, and saw that this massive city itself is built more like a forge town. Professional craftsmen seemed to line the streets. Others that were importing various goods and smelting ingots were crafting and performing their trade, and there's even the main row of smelters that you had passed by that felt like a sauna increased tenfold, like if you were to walk through the Sahara for fun. After sweating your way through that section of the craft quarter, you would finally come upon Bellanoliko's main hold and fortification, where you'd seen adamantine doors that had sit at the front of the fortification, swinging open very heavily and creakily, and in which, after being able to speak with the Baron of Bellanoliko, and the full understanding that the weapon that you seek, as they presumed from just seeing the weapons you carry about you and knowing the history, had informed you that an inevitable had taken the glaive from the grave site and immediately headed out towards the arid lands. In which, at that point, Modar had an absolute shock through his system, realizing that he actually did say inevitable. Whether that to be exactly true or something that they presume to be 100% accurate seems up in the air for the moment. But you do know that they have informed you it is somewhere southbound in the arid lands on the border. Now, at this point, as you are within the hold of Bellanoliko, that you have a decision to face of whether or not to abandon searching for the glaive, and see whether or not if it is true to the fact of an inevitable had taken this weapon, or to head to Sikador, or even come up with another plan of action. At this point, the Baron does welcome you to formulate a plan, but not to stay long, as to the situation of your presence does seem to leave a few soldiers irked, almost unsettled, just by the fact that you're recollecting these weapons, and you're not sure if it's the previous reputation or if it's the fact of what you remember when Fervor had informed you that people blamed the Green Knight for the arid wastes that are starting to push over and try and suck the life from the very greenery that they're trying to preserve. So,
Josh, you gotta change stream scenes.
thank you. I always forget to click that. So, in the short version, with the Baron explaining it to you, that originally a sizable mechanical creature had initially come upon the gravesite of the old Emerald Knight. Many people had witnessed this giant mechanical monstrosity and purposely avoided it. It had large metallic wings, a shield to match, and carried itself with an extraordinary purpose and almost an odd elegance to its monstrous form, and it made off with the glaive. So, as to the size of the titanic metallic form, at least they say titanic, but it is still intimidating fairly nonetheless, of about 25 feet tall. And a wingspan to easily match.
God damn.
You guys,
They're big.
you guys definitely know that.
We did kill a old god's son, so I mean it would be the scariest thing we faced so far.
You do know that when you attune to magical items, they do resize, so it is easy to presume that, considering how long ago that the Baron had said that this thing is made off with the glaive, it is very
Did he
likely.
say how long? How long was it?
A few days ago. At this point, it would be about a week. So it has definitely had the chance to be able to attune to it if it is possible for that, or if it is just the curiosity of that is if it's made off with it and is trying to keep it hidden away.
Which way did it go?
Southbound into the arid lands, where the large stretch of desert that has been maintaining the border has been a terrible scorcher. There are no rivers. They dry up almost instantaneously when they start to reach the greenery edge. And you could tell that even looking out over the area when you were originally approaching upon the airship, that many of the arid lands seem to have been previously mined to a degree where it almost seems like an ant's nest in some areas, where you could see multiple mining holes and causeways that were originally meant for metal has been excavated.
Shit.
But especially with so many angelic and demonic forces and devils at play, it is curious as to why something... Well, you can roll a religion if you like, or even a history.
Was it like a automaton, or...
They've said, the word they said was inevitable.
Yes.
And inevitable, which made Modar go from dark blue to pale baby blue.
Jin, you've heard of these keeping the balance. You know that even planar and archangels at the higher ranks would usually respect whatever these things are set in charge of. They are kind of like the celestial peacekeepers, and the fact that one purposely came here, if it is one, to take it, is curiously enough an action that might seem to be trying to prevent whatever is happening, or attempting to hide something that's already been labeled and known as powerful and dangerous through the history of this land.
So they think they're doing the good thing.
As far as you can tell, yes, because there is no reports, as far as you have heard from the Baron and everyone else, that it had gone out of its way to assault anyone. It seemed to have one dutiful purpose of go to this grave, break it open, and take this item, and then leave.
I believe Modar made, I believe my most recent check, or my last check in the last use the 21 history to remember them as well.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Would I've seen these things like once, maybe?
You've seen it literally once. To even see it once in a lifespan, but it's very likely in Sigil from where you're from.
Right, I have a higher than average likelihood of seeing something terrible like that.
And seeing something like that was almost haunting in a way. It was
Yeah, shocking and horrific.
beautifully made, but at the same time, just the amount of magical power emanating from this construction from
It hurts
Moradin.
to look at,
Yeah.
much less to be in the room.
Say,
Imagine what it's like to be in its way.
say we go to convince this thing to nicely at first hand us the glaive. Would we be ready for that, or would that be let's come back to this?
I don't. If it wants the glaive and it has some duty, if it is an inevitable and it has this duty to get the glaive, we would be best served by not getting in its way in any way. Talking isn't. These things are divine law incarnate. They. No, we can't fight. This isn't a fight. This would be our dooms.
Can this inevitable be reasoned with?
That's why I say talking.
Not unless what we would need to do is find the one giving it orders and reason with them. Is that accurate, Josh?
Correct.
To what I understand?
Yeah.
It once given an order, that is its task, and there is no reasoning to be had. It is a carrier of the law. The one we need to reason with is whoever's standing behind it or whispering in this thing's ear. Or we hope that it's not what these,
we can
material
also
plane
always,
chuckle fucks to think it is.
if we have to negotiate, we can name drop. We have a couple of a silver dragon, a 5,000-year-old mage.
Would it be provoked to attacking?
Not unless we got in its way. If it's trying to do something, we let it do it, is my only suggestion. I do think we could try and talk to it. It doesn't... I've never heard of an inevitable being sent to a material plane for one specific magic item. So... It could be something for us.
Moja, could it be corrupted by another force?
I go another shade paler. There are many horrible things that stalk the multiverse. I have never heard of such a terrible thing, and I hope to never see one. If you're right, we would need to assemble forces to eradicate. We would need to find many more powers to assist us to deal with something that horrific. I don't. But
an inevitable had been dispatched in the first place. It means that someone is attempting to potentially keep this weapon out of the hands of someone else.
That's the best possible scenario, yeah.
But out of our hands or the hands of the demons that seek it?
But as things have gone so far, we can always expect the worst possible outcome, because that's kind of what's happened every single time.
And that, I was gonna ask, it seems sort of like what we had going, and I wanted to know that it wasn't my fault, but the fact that it's kind of always happened to you all tracks from what I've seen.
Well, if the weapon is being spirited away from the hands of the demons, that is for the best. But we should still try to confront them. Well, we should still attempt to negotiate with this force. That is my thought. Once he sees that we bear the green runestone, it must know that there are 2 items on it. That will give us leverage. And if we must defeat it, we will.
I'll stand beside you all. Don't look forward to... If this thing was sent out righteously, then a great power is behind it, possibly even the Lady of Pain herself.
would it be better
I'm
to
sorry.
find...
Did you say Lady of Pain?
Yeah.
You serve the Lady of Pain?
Mm-hmm. I work for her sort of tangentially.
Is the Lady of Pain a force for righteous?
She is a force of lawfulness. She is the reason that Sigil exists. There is no need to worship a being such as her. She simply is.
The Lady of Pain.
Yes.
Can we go to find out intentions first before we decide to possibly make this a scenario where we have to fight?
I agree recon should be our first duty.
And if this thing is this big, maybe we want to fight it from an airship if we have to, because, it's helped before.
I would not bring anything near it that we did not want, or we were not comfortable with having instantly obliterated. Again, these things, if this is an inevitable, it does not make mistakes. It does not fail in its task. That is not what it is built for.
Who created these inevitable?
I don't know. I don't think anyone does. They have been, and they will be. They are inevitable. Josh, please feel step on my tongue if
No,
I'm saying
I mean,
anything that
you
is
could
not.
definitely try a history or a religion check, but that's going to be a very hard check.
I'll hit one because I've got that good, tireless. Or no, that's only for Arcana, isn't it?
I would.
Yeah, I'd rather not fight this thing if we don't have to.
Yeah. Because the only reason why I say it would be very hard is because it would be around the ballpark of like a DC 30, and that's not shitting on anyone. It's just their lore is extraordinarily obscure.
Would you allow an Arcana roll? Because I could theoretically get there. Because I have a 9 and I can add a D4.
I would allow it.
Alright, let's see.
Because it's still pertinent to magical knowledge.
That's a 31.
Alright. You do know that the only time inevitables are usually invoked is when actual arcane or celestial balance law is being disrupted. You know that there are some generally purposed. You don't know exactly who made them. You know one or many of the gods had initially worked on them to maintain law between the gods themselves. And
one of the great old magics, creation, god magic type shit.
Like, as the material plane was being forged, these things were made to make sure that those balances weren't disrupted. And even to the degree of, like, if a druid were to be turning a desert into greenery, it would arrive and probably immediately start destroying it and making sure that that stays a desert naturally instead of disrupting it arcanely.
Right, if somebody was messing with the laws, like they broke what caused rain to happen.
And as you said before, it does occur to you that the fact that this thing went out of its way to collect a magic item doesn't fit the bill. Usually that's
they would do.
Yeah, that's usually something reserved that an inevitable would be sent. For something like these weapons that you have, and it's not speaking any less of their very large capabilities, it's something that would usually be deferred to either a planar or an Empyrean at the most. You know, that
a lesser celestial being, not a divine arbiter.
Exactly.
These things tell gods when they've overstepped. A powerful item in the material plane is a bit more.
If this is how you say it is, I'd rather not engage currently with this thing if we don't have to, if it's not like a must.
I agree, and from what I'm remembering and what I have in this book, I've reached into my portable hole and I pull out several books. It doesn't seem like from what we've heard that we have any evidence this is an inevitable.
I'm not suggesting that we confront it in context. Only suggesting
Recon. We gotta at least see this thing.
and see if
What?
it can be resolved.
We gotta at least see this thing.
Recon. I agree.
See if it can be reasoned.
All right, I'll prep some spells that work on constructs.
You're assuming that we can reason with constructs?
Oh, many constructs can be reasoned with. Oh, I knew a warforged named Socket. Interesting fellow. Forged by Hephaestus himself.
Did Socket hold a beer?
No, he preferred meat. Not that he could drink it, but he did pour it over himself.
Is it more like a cooling factor or something to spice it up?
He said it was to fit in.
I'm sure he's not getting how that works, but I applaud his attempt.
If I ever see him again, I'll let him know. I think you two'd like each other.
Find out one day, hopefully. As well as, hopefully if things go well in this, recon.
I agree. Helmsman. Helmsman. Who do we have on the helm? I look over at the wheel.
You just look at.
It'd be funny if one of us was supposed to be like holding the wheel and we're all talking like,
Wait, who's driving?
who's driving?
Yeah, you look over at Paul Gain.
Freak hound.
Just like.
Oh, it's Paul Gain. Okay, yeah.
Like, I'm still here. Like, listen.
How far of a trip?
Should we prepare before we jump into the desert of fuck all?
Is there anything you would need from us? Any help that the airship will need in a drier climate?
If we're going to drier climates and there's no rivers definitely at all down there, I would highly recommend at least stocking up on a couple of barrels of water, maybe 10. It'd be reasonable if we're going to be there for a while.
Are we like still in the city? Can we do that here?
Oh, definitely. You haven't left the city yet. What?
Then I suggest we prepare before we dive into who knows what.
Because you can see, like, this place has been purposely set up due to the fact that they had originally had taken issue with the fact that the Airdland's coming in, so you could tell there's a lot of people who have already either do sell water in barrels, just because there are a few that do trek across the Airdlands to the southern country just to be able to sell some of the goods that they have. It's a more dangerous trek just because there's been so many mining repositories, so some areas have collapsed, but you can tell that those who do travel it are very well versed with the land itself.
Question. I don't mean to break immersion, but since I wasn't here last week, I don't know what our total experience is, so I don't even know if we've leveled up or anything.
We are level 12. We are at 1006 400.
Correct.
1006 400. All right, because apparently on my character sheet I'm still level 11.
Oops.
Nah, hit that 12, bro. Go ahead, you deserve it.
Fix that up. Right, 12.
Get that good power.
I get an improvement. Huzzah. Okay, carry on.
Yeah. So, obviously, they do have barrels of water. They're not expensive to those who are merchants. They're around 10 gold per barrel. That's just because lugging this from the
How
very...
many does he say we need? 10?
10. So if you're going to get the 10, it would run you the 100 gold for those barrels.
I say we get 12.
Alright.
While he's buying 12, I will also buy another 10.
Alright. So getting another grand total of 22 barrels, brought with you.
You never fucking know.
Extra water is always important.
What else can we get here that?
Are there any other
special suck?
Or any other specialty like materials that they or gear that they have here that doesn't exist in other parts of the world for lack of need?
Oh yeah, any weapons or accessories or anything? Armor.
Yeah, do they have like special cloaks that are good for heat dissipation? Maybe a hat for Modar so I don't burn my pale blue head. Big floppy hat.
Hilariously enough, they do have big floppy hats, the nice wicker hats and all that. Others that are more, nice leather brimmed and still lightweight. Others that have the fanciful plume, kind of like a musketeer's hat. You do take note that there's even a few others that are attempting to sell you a ring of fire resistance so you'd be able to withstand the heat.
How much?
The ring itself of fire resistance would only cost you about 800.
Is it required attunement?
With that, I believe it would. Let me double check for that for you.
Also, I would like to determine the veracity of these claims of these salesmen who we know nothing about. I would like to roll either Insight or Arcana, depending which you would allow me to roll.
I would allow you to do either one.
Yeah, what's
I'm gonna do Arcana again because I get to add that D4.
Alrighty. Do not
That's
trust.
a 26.
You are not trusting the Khajiit swears.
And look, somebody says, "Hey, here's a fire resistance ring. It doesn't require attunement." Modar goes, yeah, let me see that.
100% that rings of resistance almost always require attunement. But the aspect of fire resistance does check out in your head. You know that if you are fire resistant, heat and such like that in the arid desert wouldn't be able to bother you so much as it become more tepid and tolerable.
So it looks legit?
Yep, it looks legit. It would just cost an attunement for the time to be wearing that without having to worry about the heat bearing down on you.
Do they have anything else?
Within this city, there's a whole myriad of things that you could find. You even see other people who are selling, curiously enough, belts of nutrition, though they seem exorbitantly priced at around 8,000 gold per belt. But they claim that you'll never have to eat ever again, and you'll be able to keep your svelte figure perfectly without much effort.
Never.
Any cloaks for the desert and the sun?
With that, looking for cloaks, they are let's see. They do have a good selection that are just regular travelers' cloaks, ones that are able to be beat up a little bit more, not too bad. Some that look to be more of the magic invocation, where it's pretty much a cloak that would be able to change style and color to your liking, called the Cloak of Many Fashions. And you can see that's the person who's trying to sell them and get people to buy a few more, just to keep the heat from beating down on them. Obviously able to shift red, blues, purples, vibrant designs that kind of spider down on the back of it into more floral than Art Deco and all that.
Yeah, Ramus is more function than fashion. He'd probably go for the ring.
Alright. At the same time, for you, John, especially with your red runestone, this heat doesn't bother you at all. This is a walk.
Thirsty or anything?
I mean, other than like casual walking and like a little bit of a drink. But
so I could just basically absorb this very scorching heat.
Exactly. It doesn't even bother you.
Can I store this heat?
Go going to try and focus on your stone to collect more of this heat?
What is it? Ring of fire resist?
Yes, the Ring of Fire Resistance. So you would look up Ring of Resistance and then select fire for the type. And for you, John, I will.
Because I was thinking, since my armor can absorb heat, fire, if I could store this heat to kind of like buff my elementals if I use them, because I have never used them.
That's fair. Go ahead and let's see. What would you be training? Are you trained in religion?
I'm assuming that like I'm still trying to get in touch with my weapon.
Let's see. I would let you do a flat charisma to try and kind of meditate on this and just kind of concentrate what you use for spellcasting to let this energy flow more heavily into your runestone and weapon to try and collect the heat and give more strength and, well...
Do you want me to just roll charisma?
Yes, flat charisma.
Okay.
That would be the charisma save.
Oh, that's right. Oh, I have to use regular charisma. Aha.
Yes. But I'll still let the 17 stand. Oh. Alright.
It still came out to a 17 plus 4.
Yeah. So, especially with that, you start to take notice as you do kind of sit there and try and pull the heat from the air itself to start storing in the gym. And you can see, and anyone else who's actually passing by John as he's sitting there meditating and just trying to collect the sun's rays for a time. Not only is the red runestone kind of just starting to glimmer and take on a more burnished orange and yellow, like it's kind of stoking flames, but the air itself seems to almost be naturally cooler near him as he's kind of sucking in the heat from around him.
Anybody want to cuddle? It's a lot cooler where I am. You guys can suffer.
Cool, we'll come over.
I've got my cool right now.
That's true. Ramus is not going to be abated by the horrible scorching rays anymore. As you are obviously taking all this in, meditating and collecting various barrels, hydric items, you do see there is one curious looking shop that you could see, and it's just off to the side where it doesn't seem like a shop until you kind of get closer, and then you see a curious looking tiefling with a third arm, as far as you can tell. His tight purple skin that is kind of clinging very tightly to his forearms and biceps, but then one extra arm, a third arm that seems very gaunt and gangly, but it seems to have almost a natural tension to it, like it's not abated at all. Seems to be organizing and pulling out various tinctures and potions, setting them out about, and even setting out some of the odds and ends of magic items, some that are more strange looking. Bottle full of eyeballs is a belt that seems to have a screaming face over it, a shield that seems to have someone who's weeping on the front.
Ooh. What do those do?
So, immediately approaching, you do see this old battered sign and small little wisps of purple smoke give off a odd smell of incense. It's like lavender, rose, and a few other kind of like soft essences that are kind of fighting with each other. As you do approach this tiefling, he immediately greets you. Welcome to Phobos's Tinctures and Curios. If you wish to procure some, I have others that are more effectual than you would be surprised to find out. As he kind of shows a small box that he keeps on the front of him and does opens up one of the small pieces on the front, and just one of the gangly fingers from the very shriveled and odd-looking arm does a small rotation of the extra potions that he has, kind of like one of those small rotating corner cozies that you would have, and then gestures towards all the magic items on the table.
What do you got? You're not going to screw us, are you? Because it seems everybody tries to go a little hard with their pricing around here.
No. Not for me. I do everything at reasonable prices. And if you're looking for a interesting tincture or two to help pass time or make things more vibrant,
Anything interesting?
So with that, he will take out a few things. One seems like a small pouch of mycelium, kind of like, moss and fungi and all that. Catnap mycelium that's able to help you be at more peace and allow you to sleep more quickly and get things done faster after a short recovery. I have a few other interesting pieces as well. He pulls out an odd-looking ultraviolet powder that seems to kind of shift color occasionally, not too much, kind of between purple and blue. Arcano dust, for when you want to move a little bit faster and a little more oomph for your spells, or when you just wish to see the weave and just relax. He'll also pull out a very curious looking shroom that looks like the stalk itself was like mangled and gnarled between each other when it was growing, like almost like it was fighting, and the top of it looks very puffy and bumpy all over, not smooth like most mushrooms. So kind of like a jagged stalk, and then a very puffy, almost cloud-like top. These definitely allow a little bit of an extra vivid sense to the world around you. Occasionally allows you to peer into the ethereal while expediting your own speed. They are haste shrooms.
Oh, I was going to say, are those haste shrooms?
Yes.
I was actually going to ask if he had haste potions. How many does he have of these shrooms?
These are particularly a fanciful brand of my own. I took some time to alchemically enhance them. I do sell them at a very cheap 5 per 50. It's about 10 apiece.
10 gold apiece?
Yes.
I want to attack 5 times? Yeah.
Bruh, like, if you get that, including my haste buff on you.
That's what I'm saying. You guys can save the spell slot. Use it.
No, or we could just be ridiculously wail on a boss.
Oh yeah, we could all be
hasted. And my haste spell on you. That's nutty.
So you said 10 gold for a pack of 5.
10 gold apiece, so 50 for a pack.
How many come in the pack?
5.
Oh, 5, right. 50-50 math there.
I'm gonna grab it back.
I'm gonna get 2.
Very pleasurable doing business. I do also have curious tinctures. Things that I do sell at a mildly cheaper price. If you'd be interested in potions that might have more extra procurative tincture power to it. As to what it does exactly, I myself have not been entirely able to nail everything down from this unique brand and mixture. Though, if you want to imbibe in them, I do have a few with healing capabilities with a little extra oomph.
What kind and how much?
So, he'll pull out something that you know is a healing potion from the design of the bottle. Very, simple vial for the size of it, as well as even greater and all. Sets him down on the table, but you can see there's a soft swirl of purple inside the red mixture here. These have been, well, to put it bluntly, a little bit tampered with, arcane-wise. Something I've been testing upon. I'd be more than happy to sell these things to you at a half-price discount. Though, I do warn you, I won't be entirely sure what magical effects they may produce, but I've heard good situations from them, as far as they have happened to be.
That sounds a little unreliable to me. Thank you, but no thank you.
Fair enough. But you're always welcome to browse my wares. Phobos' tinctures are always guaranteed to have an effect.
That's a cool ass idea though, like a wild magic potion. Okay. It's like mushrooms in a ring.
Wild magic mushrooms, you said.
Haste troops, wild magic tinctures that heal you.
Hey, Modar. Hey, do you miss being gold?
It had its moments, but no, I do not.
I mean, we could use it for a little combat fun or a little post-combat fun.
I'm not gonna ask.
Look, everyone to their own. I don't do drugs.
No, but it's a magic drug, and you like magic.
Trying to turn
You know
him
how
into a
many?
dark
You know
elf.
how many? You know how many interplanar criminals I put away for shipping stuff just like that?
You see,
Yeah, but see, the
Kuposhak is
benefit
going
of
up there
you
to
here
buy one.
Now is we're not in your world.
No, which is why I'm not. I don't have any problems with it, but it doesn't exactly make me eager to try.
Well, suit yourself. I mean, we could have had more money if you ended up getting lucky and just getting the vomit gold.
Hey, why don't you try throwing up several hundred silver coins in a few moments? It's not a pleasant experience.
I've had a few drunken stupors. I'm pretty sure they relate kind of the same.
It
was worth a shot.
Look, why don't you go get one? Go. It seems like you really want to try them.
I left my wallet with my sister and she's not here.
Do you need some money? I can lend you some money, buddy. It's alright.
It's against my vows. I am so sorry.
Oh, okay. Modar puts his coin purse back. Nice day. Wish it wasn't so fucking hot. Oh, I get my magic carpet to fly over me while I walk.
That's some
so
swag.
that I have shade. Yes.
That is smart.
That's really
Baller.
Oh, and I can put the stuff on top of it instead of carrying it. Yes, this is exactly what's happening.
So with that, Phobos will Justin, is there anything else that might catch your eye?
any fun trinkets.
He holds up the bottle of eyes.
Oh.
If you ever need to do some extra scouting, this could be of aid. As long as there is an eye in one of these, you'd be able to cast. Let's see, where is the spell? Oh, there we are. Be able to cast an arcane eye that you'd be able to peer through for a time to be able to scout ahead of you. Promise you I fit as many eyes as I could within. And at that point, as he kind of like holds it up towards you, you can see like all the eyes turn to look at you from inside the bottle.
That is creepy. But I can assume that can be helpful on our recon mission. I say this out loud because, guys, I don't have my wallet.
Hold on, quick, let's raid the sister pocket.
I mean, we basically have just been throwing all our money into our hoard and using that to buy shit.
I will Modar will sigh loudly and say, "How much for the jar of eyes?"
Seems a bit pricey, but about 500.
Okay.
Wait. We've already done quite a few, shoppings with you. Can you kind of like lower that down, please?
I won't lower it down, but I will give you an extra trinket with it. He'll set down 2 greater healing potions with the little swirl with it within. Extra for free.
Ooh.
I will.
Greater healing potions, extra for free. For something that's 500 gold? Good sir.
Roll me persuasion. You do see, you don't get on his bad side, but you do see he does ponder it for a moment. Because I do like your group, and you have been procuring many useful items. He'll stack on another 2 of the greater, so he'll give you 4 of the greater, the unique swirl.
Jin looks at him sternly and extends his hand. Good deal, sir.
He will shake your hand with his good hand.
I'll
Jin
take
looks
the
at
jar.
Modar, pay the good sir, and walks away.
I lay out 500
Remus
gold.
giggles off.
Modar pays people in gold bars. I spend my free time fabricating my gold into bars rather than points.
You said greater healing?
Yes, 4 greater healings. Be sure to mark down with an effect, or that they are slightly different.
With effect. I will mark down 2 of these and leave the other 2 for other people to take.
Alright.
Remus grabs 2.
You get hurt a lot.
Yeah, I tend to, run face first into things.
Okay, and just jar of eyes.
Jar of Arcane Eyes. There'll be 8 charges in there.
Okay. And do you have a specific text that you want me to have for these, or just that I can see from them 8 times?
The specific spell that it does is cast Arcane Eye.
Oh, okay.
The potions? Oh, no, wait, never mind. We don't know.
But the
the range of the arcane eye is not 30 feet. It would be up to a mile.
Okay. And there's no... It's only 8 charges, no getting it back.
Correct. So once those are depleted, because each time you pull the stopper, you would allow one eye to be unleashed, and then you would be able to see through it and control it. So each time you unleash the stopper.
And you said 600 feet?
Up to a mile.
Up to a mile.
Yeah. It has a traveling speed of 40 feet in flight.
How many eyes are in there?
8 total. It's a sizable potion bottle. Not enormous, but enough to where you could see that for the various eye sizes, there are some that are curiously too big for the pipe that, like the flute of the pipe that goes for the bottle. You're not sure how he got it in there. Especially unbroken.
I'm not gonna ask.
And do I still need to concentrate as normal?
For that, you do not.
Okay.
Hey, so any way I can improve my sword healing? I don't know, I just thought of making a potion.
With the sword healing, directly here, go ahead and roll me an investigation, because that is a fairly big stretch as someone being able to work with Rotonapar. You definitely give it a good try. There are a few that, you know, admire the sword, but feel they're not within the capabilities of the level of power that Rotonapar carries as well. You feel like something like this might be in Onso's purview, but a very niche, like very skilled professional, and even then it's still a stretch, as these are unique artifacts from an age long ago.
Alright, I try.
Worth a look. But aside from that, you do see that Kuposhek has purchased a few items from Phobos, the curio man. See that he has the belt of screaming faces, as well as a few potions here and there that he has purchased with.
What did the belt do?
You did not find out,
No.
but I will tell you, whenever something invisible approaches you, it'll immediately lash out in a cone 15 foot in that direction, thunder damage 4d6.
I could have used that. A fight against fucking Ku.
The arena comes up again. Ku, can I borrow your belt? Sure.
No, Ku's not invited next time.
Sneaks up with Abyssal Dagger from Hell. Provided by yours truly.
Monster.
You guys let him have it. Alright. But there are a few others that do sell wondrous magic items if you are looking around that purview of these shops and such. So with that, you do see there are some all-purpose tools, alchemy jugs, amulets of health, even amulets of protection of turning devout. Ironically, the amulet of the drunkard, which is amusingly sold. The tankards of fullness that refill once a day with beer.
I have a refilling keg
This is true.
that we don't get enough use out of.
As for the amulet of the drunkard, even though it smells of old ale-stained wood, you can regain 44 plus 4 hit points whenever you drink a pint of beer, ale, mead, or wine once a day when you are wearing this amulet and have a drink. So you could do that once a day with that. It's a fun little necklace.
Okay. Is anybody else carrying anything? What was the deal with that shield?
The shield itself is the Shield of Weeping Souls. Whenever nearby a gravesite or a cursed or corrupted land, mostly pertaining with the undead or those of fiendish nature, the shield will weep holy water, consecrating the ground as you walk.
Holy shit.
Whoa.
What kind of shields are two paladin or cleric using?
This doesn't require attunement.
That could be useful for Side-Eye Jin, who's, I assume, still, like, posing proudly 10 feet away after his successful negotiation. Yeah.
Looking for meat on a stick.
Jin hears Modar from behind him, and
You
he
hear
just
the
points to
side
his
eye.
back. +3 shield.
Yes, but you have a protege that is also potentially a paladin.
My
in training.
protege. That's Talos.
But wasn't she
Is Dia not
a
your
fighter?
No, she's not my protege.
Oh.
Talos took her under his wing.
Wait, did you actually let it happen? Because the last time I tried it, you like, no, because you fought me on it. You were like, wait, she's.
I
oh,
didn't.
No,
I tried to get her.
told me.
Like, I didn't want responsibility.
Okay, all right. Well, in that case, I guess she's my protege.
Okay. Davos, could that be useful to Dia?
Josh, Dia's fighting style, does that allow for shield, or does she go two-handed?
You do see that she goes two-handed quite often.
Okay. No, she needs her mobility. So in this case, I would say no. Is there any armor though? Anything in her Empire style, or never mind the style of it, but something that might be an improvement from what she's currently wearing?
For both of our giant as well.
My paddle.
As for Nira, let me double check. I'm pretty sure she's already wearing +2 plate, if I recall.
Is she?
Yeah, you guys have monstered Nira out to like no fucking end.
Yeah, alright, if she doesn't need anything. Yeah.
Sorry, correction. She's wearing, if I recall, it's either Jin's or his sister's old plate mail of +1. So she's wearing +1 plate mail. There is room for improvement there. Because
Is this Dia or is it or Nira?
that
Both probably need.
yeah, that would
Because
be
I thought
there.
didn't we armor up Nira like not a couple games back, but I mean, didn't we put her in some fairly significant crap?
Yes, you did. Let me pull her up. DIE. She does have a +1 longsword. No magical armor yet, but I believe that was because it was being passed down the chain first, because Nira just got the plate mail, because that finally came into availability.
Yeah, we need to hook both of them up.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see what we can do when we get back to the ship.
What are their weapons?
Nira is rocking a monstrous great silver sword, legendary.
Is that better than the sword we got off the Dragon Rider dude? Or the Wyvern Rider?
Certain death?
The great sword of hurt and death. By technicality, yes, because when she hits somebody with it, they cannot regen health. With the Great Silver Sword, be able to, let's see. Well, it does help. Let's see. While you have advantage on intelligence and wisdom and charisma saving throws, and you are immune to being charmed and have resistance to psychic damage. In addition, if you score a critical hit with this against a creature's astral body, you can cut the silver cord that tethers the target to the material body instead of the dealing damage. So, aside from the astral body part, overall, the fact that she actually gets psychic resistance and full immunity to intelligence, wisdom, and charisma saving throws of being controlled and all that, and having resistance, that Great Silver Sword is a massive boon to her being a barbarian, because the area that she's weakest in is fully covered by that.
Okay. Can she rock one on her back and change as necessary, or is that like...
Let me double check the weapon of certain death, because I'm pretty sure both are attunement.
I know we were trying to think of some sort of like two-handed, dual-wielding two-handers, but I don't know what it would take to get that either.
Curiously enough, it does not actually require an attunement. So yeah, she could definitely carry that around on her back and just have it at the ready whenever.
She would definitely situational. That's a double fuck you.
And then yeah, the
what's Dia's weapon?
Hers is a +1 longsword right now.
Oh, she needs.
Oh yeah.
She needs the hookup. They both need armor, but she needs a weapon stat.
Let's see. Wait, so Josh, in the way of mobile armor, not mobile armor, but in the way of accessories, are there any helms or bracers any note in any of these shops?
Within this area, most definitely, particularly bracers. You would definitely be able to find pretty much all the various bracers that exist. Bracers of archery, bracers of flying daggers, and even bracers of defense. Though they are all attunement. The only one that wouldn't be here would be illusionist bracers.
Well, at this point, I mean, Dia doesn't have anything she's really attuned to anyway. So, let me see. Not the bracer of flying daggers. What was the second one you mentioned?
Bracers of defense, though, unfortunately, you would have to not be wearing armor or using a shield for that.
Okay.
For other ones, you could get her even The +1 armor, or let's see, because she doesn't have full plate yet, which would
Well, we take a look at this +1 armor. How much is it going for?
For +1 armor. Armor is a bit of a gut punch because the prices do kind of launch up just because the material. So,
You said they're both wearing +1 armor?
she's not wearing +1. Nira's wearing +1. Dia, if you were to buy her armor, it would cost you about 5,000 gold to get her.
Oh, we may not
Don't
have.
Don't you have that hammer somewhere? Someone has it?
Well, Rain has, if I'm counting correctly, 2 sets of armor that are both +2 that they're not wearing. We recently acquired +3 plate for Rain, which means that they both have a standard +2 set of plate and the breastplate of the Sunken King, which is a +2 breastplate.
Mm.
So one or both of those could get passed on.
Oh, they should both if we can.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't want to take from Rain.
Yeah,
But
true.
she's not here.
She's not.
But-
I mean, they're not being used.
Yeah.
The +2 plate, I think, would be going in the Horde anyway.
The breastplate of the Sunken King. That's just a breastplate,
Correct.
and
It's a +2 breastplate.
Yes. Which is actually really good by armor.
Yeah.
standards.
So if you're
I think-
if you only have medium armor proficiency, it's very good.
I think I would claim that for Dia, only because if there's +2 plate, I think that should go to Nira.
I agree.
Because
Okay. It was already unchecked on her sheet, so.
Alright.
what exactly do the bracers of flying daggers do, Josh?
The bracers of flying daggers. Let me quickly pull this up again. The bracers of flying dagger appear to have thin strap daggers to it. As an action, you can pull up to 2 magic daggers from the bracer and immediately hurl them and make a range attack with each dagger. A dagger vanishes if you don't hit it, if you don't hurl it right away, and the dagger disappears right after they hit or miss. The bracers never run out of daggers.
Damn. It's not really her style, though.
No.
Okay. That would be pretty cool. Actually, no. I mean, Ku's got his own. I mean, Ku's set, but I mean, Ku with
his
unlimited
dagger, fuck
daggers.
you.
I mean, yeah, that'd be pretty. Okay, we'll hold off for now.
Alright.
Okay,
Man, I know one flying bird brain that would have loved that.
Yeah. Oh, Siri.
We love you.
See.
Miss you.
Only the cruel DM hadn't unjustly
I think that's a misremembered fact, but
rudely and without option to save my poor boy. That's how I remember it.
Ripped from my arms. Tried to
Definitely not fed
Ow.
directly to the dragon, because it's exactly what that stupid bird head would have done.
I know a song that goes great for Ziri. Crossroads, Bone Thugs and Harmony.
Yeah.
Oh.
yeah. Okay, I can feel that.
Anybody with or anywhere we can get a weapon for her then, since everybody else seems to be set.
Pretty much everywhere. This is even though it is a forge barony in capital, it is a very skilled knight craftsman. There are weapons like you would never believe, spread far and wide across the various shops here.
Anything interesting, or just standard +1, +2 fare?
Are you going for expensive or reasonable? Because everything you see here, you could see all sorts between like blades of Medusa, blood axes, even like bone counter.
She's swords, right?
Yeah, she uses the longsword two-handed, almost katana style.
Yeah, she's like a samurai.
Pretty much. Her class is samurai.
Her class is samurai.
Yeah, there's legitimately a fighter class. Her fighter variant is samurai.
Yeah, you got any weapons for a samurai? Or anybody have any weapons for a samurai?
With that, there are definitely plenty, even between Corpse Slayer, Crystal Blades, Dancing Sword, the familiar one back in the day. They even have things all the way up to legendary crafts of like Dawnbringers, Defenders, Devotee. Well, that's a
What's like the +2 stuff? Let's slow down here.
What's the affordable +2 stuff?
We do have an instrument of the bards, which is the lyre, which is a really powerful one. And none of us are a bard, and none of us are planning to take up barding.
Yes.
Maybe we could trade that for one of the big ones and just give Nira, the slayer of all that is impure. Like, why limit her? If she can carry for us, let her.
Is Nira's weapons +2 or?
It's just +1.
Oh shit! So they both need weapons.
Yeah, because like I said, it's been kind of like a trickle-down effect where a lot of the stuff you guys have outfitted you gave to Nira, or Dia was a little late on the arrival, and then, hilariously enough, was first up Ku, and Ku had decked himself out with a lot of stuff you trickled down.
We still have that great, and is anyone taking the Greatsword of Certain Death?
I thought you were...
No, Nira.
Yeah,
so Nira is going to take that one.
Yeah.
There is,
I see only like a +1.
But for that one, it's more about the effect rather than the bonus. It's magical in other ways. I do also see that we got another +2 longsword, which would work well for Dia. It's marked here. I have it as I added it on.
She's Greatsword though, isn't she?
Dia, not Nira.
Oh yeah.
You know what? If you guys are okay with it, I wouldn't mind giving that +2 longsword to Dia. Phrasing. Yeah. Sorry.
Okay. I'll take that off the sheet then. And
Alright.
we can add
Sure.
it to... Alright, I'm taking it. It's off of the trigger board.
Alright, what about Greatsword, Great Axes then? And yeah, I guess the trade works since none of us are barding.
Oh wait. Did anyone use the Robe of Eyes?
No.
I
That
have not.
it has like a lot of really good upsides, but I can't spare the attunement slot, and Rain can't either now that they have the Mantle of Spell Resist.
Mm-hmm.
Nor can I. I refuse to give up my wand of lightning bolts.
It's just
Plus,
good.
I can rock.
No spots.
Mm-mm. We don't have to send it this time around, but it might be good to keep in mind as a trade-off going forward.
Yeah. If we give Nira the Greatsword of Certain Death, that is only a +1, but it does fulfill
She can hold
her
one on her back and have one.
Right.
her,
She could pull a Witcher and do, like, she's got the silver for that +2 bonus, and she's got the Greatsword for that.
And
To die.
I do remember saying that if you were able to get a belt of giant strength, I would allow the Titan grip plan to go into action.
Oh, right. But that Rain would need to be here to convince them to give up their belt of ogre strength.
had that on since the beginning of the game. I don't think you're gonna convince her to.
No, that's what I'm
take
saying.
that
We have one, but I don't think that's the option. We would need to get another.
Because let's see, you would
Especially
need.
now since she's a war cleric, she's go all about the smash.
Fuck yeah. Yeah, because I said Belt of Fire Giant Strength or up would be required. Because you need that 25 strength and pumped up.
Oh, okay. So they don't have that here.
They do. It's just it ain't gonna be cheap.
I mean, how expensive is expensive?
For Fire Giant Strength, that would run your pockets a solid 50,000 gold.
50,000?
Cap is 20. It pushes beyond that cap. And it's better than the Belt of Stone Giant Strength.
We do have 7,000, more than 7,000 platinum. That would be a large chunk of the money that we currently have. It would be much more than even half.
So what can we...
Again, my pitch is that the Greatsword of Certain Death is more magically important than another just +1 to hit. She already does.
But it's very specific, that's what I'm saying.
With the Weapon of Certain Death, she doesn't need to attune to that. She could just carry that around.
Yeah, so she can have that to stop healing, and then wail on them with a beastie weapon afterwards.
Well, let's go sell that lyre and see if we can get her a good.
Or see what we can exchange for something of.
Yeah. What do they? Do you take trades? Do you do barter here? Is this place?
So just randomly go into the first person, you find a female dwarf.
Hi.
Of course, we're more than happy to do trades.
You ever seen something like? Hey, Rain, can I see the bag of holding? Yeah, can I just?
Yeah.
Reach
Sure.
in, I pull out I flourish it. I mean, wait, hold on. Jin, could you come do the sales pitch?
Sorry, what?
Poster boy.
Could you tell her how cool this instrument of the bard, this lyre is? And I thrust the lyre at you. Tell her how
this
cool it
lyre?
is. Yeah.
You really want me to tell her how cool this lyre? I don't think she's ready to understand how amazing this lyre is.
Are you ready? Do you think you're ready?
I don't
Wait,
know.
I use Druidcraft to make the wind blow in his hair as he's talking.
Portentous.
Every time they say liar, I roar.
Why did I think all of a sudden as the wind blows, the hair in front of my eyes just swoops away and you see my eyes glisten? Say, do you want to know about this lyre? Right here? This
And then another roar.
Go
Every time he says liar, I roar.
Go ahead and roll persuasion with advantage. She's just like, yeah, I really want to hear about this. Like what?
Ma'am, I don't think you're ready to know about this lyre. Hit me with the roar.
Hit me with a roar.
A mountain comes out of nowhere. I'm standing on top of it.
We got the fucking, what was it, the Paramount logo?
Fucking shit.
Lion's Gate.
Oh, she's just like, yeah. I think I can handle that lyre. You doing something later?
Oh.
I don't know. Saving the world. What about you?
Saving an afternoon for you.
Keep that oven hot. I'll let you know how things work out.
Woof. Right, the deal. I've
be more than happy to trade that at full price for you. Keeping in a good respect, especially purchasing something so fine. She kind of like lingers on the word fine and is admiring Jin.
That's your booty.
You just suddenly, like, very subtly hear, like, as you're trying to make the deal finish out, Modar, like, that tight-fitting armor.
I will activate. I will activate.
What were we trying to do?
I will activate my superior cloak of billowing for additional eyeing in the background.
Oh my fucking all
This
you
is literally like
all you motherfuckers get inspiration for that fucking hardcore teamwork there. God damn.
Excellent.
Oh, if we're done, please, I have my rod of alertness and the aura that it drops.
This was literally a scene out of WandaVision where fucking messed up Vision was doing the magic show. Everybody flourish.
Fuck Christ. Awesome. I kind of lost the thread. What were we doing?
Yeah, we're just
Trying to find
Oh yeah, the liar.
a weapon from the liar.
Yeah.
For Nera.
So what'd she say?
she'd be more than happy to give you full price for the liar.
Oh no, I want Jin to tell us what she said.
Since I don't recall why we were doing this, all I remember is her saying she's keeping an afternoon open for me. What was the whole thing with the liar?
We were trying to trade it for something cool, get near a big badass. You know, never mind. Don't worry about it.
Does she have any great swords?
Does she have a boss?
Equal importance and value.
Comparatively to what you have, let's see. I'm gonna steal a note from Nate here. High or low for favorable results?
Spicy. Always go high. Right?
Okay.
Right, guys? Always go high.
Alright, so if you choose high and the d20 rolls high, what you'll be looking for will be most definitely there. If it's low, then it's middle of midst of the ground.
Who would you like to roll the d20? The pally man himself who pulled the scheme.
I feel my luck fading. I don't know what am I rolling, Josh, because
It would
just a flat d20.
Yeah, d20
it's a flat d20.
is the consensus that will be on high for favorable results, I assume. Like, oh,
Yes, it is the consensus.
all right.
High. 11 is high. Thank Christ.
Funny, I just rolled one in D&D Beyond. 19.
The gods so will it.
All right. So there's a lot of fanciful weapons here. Some that are definitely speaking to you. You could tell, especially with the fact that you managed to snag a dwarven clan here and get them so fancy and flighted.
We also tell her about the tavern in case she finds herself in the neighborhood.
Oh yeah, come and visit us.
And we big that up, and then the beer, and then the special beer made by the dwarves, and et cetera, et cetera.
I think I'll definitely be making a trip if you're all going to be there.
When we're done saving the world, first round's on us.
Is she looking to have sex with the whole party?
I nudged Jin
The
to wink
team?
at her.
You can tell. Actually, roll me an insight, Modar. Roll me
She's trying to take down the whole adventuring party? Are you kidding me? 7. I 100% think that she is attempting to take down the entire party. And Modar is both somewhat flattered, but made uncomfortable at the same time.
Yeah, it turns a little bit purple now.
Apparently, Modar's insight is not really good on this aspect.
100% she's trying to sleep with the whole damn party.
My eyes go big, and absolutely, I color purple.
But curiously enough, there's one particular greatsword that stands out to you among the rest. One that has been purposely kept in a much more regal velveteen case, but obviously with enchants to keep it locked and kept safe, as you also see a special adamantine sheath to keep it from cutting through its display. A very beautiful black-handled greatsword as it tapers down to the tang of the blade. A beautiful filigree depicting what seems like a battle at the base of the sword, and this large, beautiful tapestry that's been etched going down it of what seems like a knife, clashing with what seems a much more fanciful-looking dragon covered in various spine steel, as well as humongous bladed tail blades right at the end as it's striking out. On the red metal tang of this, you realize that as you look at the small plaque underneath, Vorpal Greatsword.
Oh shit. On that note, hold on a second. I'll be right back.
Holy fuck.
The question of whether or not you can afford this item is another situation at hand.
Oh, is this not... They're not willing to trade this for the instrument of
The
bar?
lyre?
They are willing to reduce the price for sure.
Miss Ma'am, that sword, how much it?
Oh my god.
Yo, Jin is just salivating over there. Oh my.
All of a sudden, the wind stops and drool starts to just run down one side.
So the original asking price that you do see, 350,000 gold. As she is looking into Chin's eyes and have already set this heart ablaze. I'd be willing to knock that down to 300,000 for you.
Okay, back. Did we get her the sword? Did we get a description of it?
We got a description, but it's the Vorpal Greatsword, and they're not willing to trade it for the instrument, but if we give the instrument, they'll knock the price down to 3,300.
300,000, yes.
Oh, 300.
300,000?
Yes.
Wow, that is...
It is a Vorpal.
300,000 gold?
Yeah, being knocked off from the original 350,000.
We don't even have...
Wait, so does that mean it's going to 50,000?
She knocked off 50,000 for the 5,000 lyre that you've traded.
Okay.
So it's how much still?
300.
300?
Yes, 300,000.
We don't have that much. We barely have 100,000 all together.
How much is a platinum converted into gold?
It's
10.
10 gold?
So we're at just over 100,000.
Okay, what else she got?
Yeah, what are you willing to trade?
Or what else? Maybe we can buy something, but 300's a little steep at the moment.
So, bumping it down to a lower rarity, you do see that others that are more applicable, still with trade at a much cheaper price, is a flame tongue greatsword, as well as either a frostbrand greatsword as well. Both of which
I
are...
am willing to do crazy things for a massive discount off of that sword.
How crazy.
There's no way. That's a Vorpal sword. Those are...
It's
Not just a Vorpal sword, a Vorpal Greatsword.
Yeah.
Is she a fan of the coitus?
She looking like she about to slay you in the streets, bro. After that demonstration you pulled with her.
I mean, I could lay down the royal penis if we can get something knocked off for that sword.
Knock it out for that sword.
The Sunblade is also a rare item on the same tier as the Lyre.
That is true.
Do they have a
what?
Sword? The Sunblade, essentially a lightsaber. It's a +2 weapon. Normally is a longsword. Maybe they have a greatsword variation.
Higher or low favorable results for that one?
I will go low because we just went high.
Alright, go ahead and roll with it.
No, piss. That's a 7.
Already to say there are no greater or great sunblades there.
How about a +2 vicious weapon?
They do have those.
Okay,
those are much easier to ascertain.
We're more likely to get Jin to knock the boots off her to get this weapon.
I'm saying I don't think I think the Vorpal is going to be a bit outside of our what we can achieve even at this point. Those things are crazy powerful, like cut the head off God if you try hard enough and are angry enough type powerful.
As long as they're small enough.
Yeah, an aspect of God, I should say.
I mean, it's up to you what you're willing to do. I know it seems tough, but that's the price range of what you're gunning for of the legendary stuff or rare and all. It does get pretty heavy.
So in the
Honestly,
event,
party, I don't think that the Vorpal Greatsword is a priority at this moment.
I would agree.
all right. So yeah, what else is there comparable?
He said we could get
those.
a plus. He said we could get a +2 vicious weapon.
+2.
Is there a Frostbrand?
Frostbrand, Flame Tongue. I know
I feel if somebody gets a Flame Tongue, you're just stepping on my toes.
Do they do enhanced weapons here? What if we gave them the weapon of certain death and asked them to upgrade it and paid them the
Do we
Lyre
still have
and
that hammer, or did we give it up?
which hammer?
I still have the adamantine hammer from the Sentient Forge.
Oh.
Yeah. Would we be able to give that to a smith and with the certain death, and then have them try and prove it because they're probably better than we are.
Yeah.
You definitely can. It would take them a few days to do so.
Shit.
Drop it off, come back. Again, like Nira has been functioning. She's not without the ability to fight.
Oh, yeah.
If we
She
upgrade
was
him, it's a good
performing
run.
in that fucking last battle.
Yeah.
We're already giving up the
Wait, are we against the
Lyre.
Frostbrand? Are we against the Frostbrand?
The weapon of certain death just seems to be more powerful. So if we have an option to upgrade it, that I was exploring. But if we want her to have a weapon right now, then let's just pick up the Frostbrand. We'll trade it. We'll give him the Lyre. Walk out with a buck off big Frostbrand.
Big Frost Daddy.
It eventually comes down to, I guess, Ramus, because that's your lady.
Mm-hmm.
I guess have some ice to go with the fire.
It works. It works.
Right. I will subtract the Lyre from the treasure hoard then.
All right. And you will require for Nira a Greatsword Frostbrand.
Focus, yeah.
I swear to God, if she goes crazy again and attacks me with the sword that we got her,
Yeah, that's
I'm not
gonna
gonna live anymore.
that's gonna really suck too, because it's the counter opposite to your element right now.
Oh man, I just
The
realized.
opposite to well, it's the opposite to my, but I have the advantage.
It's true.
I can probably person her. We should be okay.
If she still has the great silver sword, hell no.
Guys, I just realized something.
Huh.
Modar hasn't run across any agents of the Yellow King as of yet. He's never heard the name. Like, he could go crazy if we.
Wait, are we having this conversation in the store?
No, what? Yes. As a matter of fact, yes.
All right.
Name of the who?
The Yellow King.
The what? In the who now?
I tell you his name, but it might drive him mad.
But that's
Dallas,
like
we're not going to do that.
Especially not out here.
Mortal kings of which little barony is that?
Trust me, friend. When we tell you, trust me, friend. When we tell you, it is best that you are chained somewhere within all this.
All right. That's extremely worrisome. Are we sure that you need to tell me, or is it likely that this thing? Are we good? We have the sword. We should go. This thing is rampaging out in the desert.
This is something we're gonna have to deal with sooner or later. So we should probably think of a plan.
Let's get to the ship and get going, and I guess chain me up and.
Well, we could do the observation first, especially now that we have the Jar of Eyes from a mile off. I feel safer about that.
Also, I was doing math about that. We could fly. Modar pulls out a graph and a small diagram of a boat with a right triangle drawn under it. If we have a distance of a mile to work with, then we should fly about a half mile above the ground, and that will give me roughly 0.86 of a mile of distance around the ship that I can scan with the arcane eye at 30 feet a second.
Know nothing of mathematics, but that sounds good to me.
Well, okay.
Well, we get some downtime. I want to try and make this armor +3 somehow. We'll get there.
The evolution is coming.
Downtime. We're about to go find an inevitable and get it stat. See who he's working for.
Yeah, let's kick rocks.
Yeah.
All right.
We spent 2 hours shopping.
Let's go then.
Skoden.
I mean, this could go very, very sideways from here on out. So
I just don't
like to be prepared.
Modar will take every opportunity to be like, we should not fight these things. They will wreck. They will wreck our shit. Right. No. Yeah. Nate knows. Modar is hopeful that not everything will end in combat.
Alrighty. So that Dia is pumped up to the 18 mark.
Actually, while you're updating shit, I'm gonna go and refresh my drawer.
Fair enough.
Oh, Josh, are you updating NPCs right now?
Yes.
Okay, hold on, give me 1 second. Yeah. When we do return to the ship and we end up giving the items, I do present Dio with the +2 longsword, the breastplate of the Fallen King, and I pass on to her my boots of springing and striding.
Ooh. She just kind of looks like very dumbfounded at this one.
Is this, did something happen, or is just for preparation? Seems very sudden.
When last we spoke... Sorry. When last we spoke, I asked you and Aratrice if you would like to stay. Aratrice has decided to go another way, but you have decided to stay with us. I need to know, if you stay with us, that you are ready for the fight to come.
I will make myself more than ready.
We shall do so together. Come, let us train.
Well, it only gets worse from here, so good luck. He tries to be like encouraging about it.
Die, weakling.
No, just like old gods and celestials and inevitable. Shit's getting crazy.
We've reached that stage. Late game 5e is wild.
Oh, yeah. Getting past that 12 mark.
I asked her as we're sparring, are there any legends amongst her people with regard to any of that? Like, where do their beliefs in devils, demons, and I guess even inevitable fall? Has she ever heard any of these things?
I've not heard of anything of an inevitable, but I am quite familiar with the devils and demons. The fact that they despise each other to a sickening degree and will even go out of their way to accost each other at, well, every angle. As for the other matters of what's going on with the runestones, I've heard of some rumors to them, but I didn't pay too much attention to them as I've focused more on the combative side of my training.
And well, you should. If you live through this, you will be a fine, and you will be an excellent warrior. And I intend to ensure that you live through this. Again.
Immediately goes to block and continue the assault with her high guard. She presses towards you, trying to keep away from your spear.
Don't think, feel.
Here, think.
Reach out with your feelings.
Don't use blind sight, be the blind sight.
Yeah, it's the mind killer.
So, cast or do not. There is no try.
Flaming, poison, raging sword. God damn. I'll have to look at that again.
You started describing it, and that was all I could picture in my head, dude. It was just... You're like, oh, the most amazing sword. And that was where my brain went. It's the greatest thing ever. It was drawn by a 7-year-old.
Best fucking weapon you've ever seen.
It's got a scorpion tail on the bottom.
I'm gonna make that real just to fuck with you.
Yo, if I walk in and I see some motherfucker carrying the flaming raging poisoning sword of doom, you best believe I'm assaulting them for dimensional fucking tampering. That is now a part of Modar's backstory.
Alright. So with that, getting training underway, loading up the ship, making sure supplies are well and set, plenty of food for the griffins as well as Blackguard. Ku make sure is making sure the kitchen is restocked, as well as opening up a snuff box and occasionally taking a huff of arcane dust for fun.
Is he going to be an arcane druggie?
He's already there.
He is, isn't he?
I need this stuff, man.
Well, especially when you're getting ready, you'll see that. You know how when your eyes fuck pupils dilate?
You do see that, but then you see, like, colors shifting through Ku's pupils.
Oh, man. Alright, let's get out of here. Let's make sure he stays hydrated, because he's doing drugs and we're going into the desert.
Alrighty. So the ship is no longer moored, able to fully lift off into the sky once again. Start leaving Bellanalika behind, along with all the various forges and smog that choke the ship for a time before finally getting back to fresh air. Even if it is dry, hot air from the desert rising up, it is still far cleaner than whatever lingers over that city.
Oh god, are we going into sandworm territory?
Boom. Boom. So let me ask you, have you ever heard of greater scorpions?
No.
I prefer lesser scorpion, or just the regular scorpion.
Legendary creature of the desert.
As we move into the desert proper, beyond like the edge, where even like where it's clear that the climate has changed, the plants are all desert faring and such, I will ask for Paulgain to slow down slightly, as the eyes can only move so fast, and I'm going. Can I cast more than one of them at once?
Yes, you can.
Okay, I'm going to pull out two, and I'm going to toss them, one to the north of us and one to the south of us. Actually, I'm east and west. That's what I'll need.
Alright. You just have them start fanning out.
Essentially, yeah. They will rotate
Sorry.
clockwise until one reaches the top and one reaches directly north and one reaches directly south, and then they reverse and they go counterclockwise.
Alright.
So the one that was north is now south, and south is now.
Go ahead and give me 3 separate perceptions for that, and I'll be right back.
Okay.
Quick drink break for everyone.
Dark Revolt.
Dallas, you watched the Eternals yet?
I did, yeah.
Thoughts?
Has everyone here seen it? I don't want to spoil
No,
anything.
I have not seen it.
Okay.
Sorry.
Earmuffs. Actually, hold on. Oh, he did earmuffs. Alright, go.
Did he? Oh, okay. All right. So,
Hold on, before you start, I just want to say, filler episode.
Absolutely. And here's the thing. It wasn't terrible at all. It wasn't bad. Definitely not my favorite. The most exciting thing there for me though, and this is just because like as an old school sort of like 80s Avenger fan, Dane Whitman.
I was gonna say the credit scene with the black blade.
Yeah, I mean that was pretty much that's literally the thing for me. Like, don't get me wrong, it wasn't bad by any means. I actually like it more than I like Doctor Strange, but I really don't feel like it was that. Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of the Doctor Strange one. I think it was.
I kind of liked it.
I thought Doctor Strange was far more effective in Endgame. No, not Endgame. In Infinity War than he was in his own movie. I was just kind of like, the best thing for me out of Doctor Strange was Wong.
But that's Thor 1 and 2 as well.
Yeah, that's true. That's absolutely true. But yeah, so that's it. So I mean, well, once again, not bad by any means. It was a great story. I actually really like the characters, but it still feels so disjointed. Like having one conversation about, oh, okay, now that Steve Rogers and Tony Stark are dead, who do you think's going to lead? Like, seriously? So nothing. None of the stuff that was going on.
I think it was to sort of humanize them, so to speak, and this was grand design, so they're like, what do we do now? Because that fucked up.
Yeah.
But yeah, it felt. I think it felt very art house attempted. You know.
Yeah, and I mean,
It almost felt like Doom. Like they were
okay.
trying to do something like that. You know, like that slow, methodical.
And I
Dark
appreciate.
level.
I kind of feel like if that were the case, and I get it, you know, if you think about it, this is sort of like a prequel to everything, right? So, I mean, it's a prequel, but a now thing also. So so I mean, I get that for the sake of like world building, but it still just felt a little too disconnected
Yeah.
for me to really feel like it was in the MCU. Like I'm sure it's going to,
Even
connect at some point, but
there were so many that I don't think we really got time with any. So,
yeah,
with the exception of what's her name, Cersei, I didn't really care about anybody.
yeah. I like
Cersei
Kingo
and
though, but I mean, for
Sprite,
my home, yeah, it's right.
with the
Yeah, but
exception.
Kingo was my boy.
Yeah,
Kumail Najani. Yeah,
yeah.
that like I love that cat as a comedian anyway. So, um, I thought that came through pretty well. But you're right. Yeah, I mean, you didn't really get a feel of all the other ones, but
The
yeah.
last 4 minutes of the movie, they were like still introducing new characters. There was just
Yeah.
too many.
So, but I mean, altogether, I mean, it was a great. As a matter of fact, it would have been great had it been like a standalone. This is happening in this universe, but like no one has any idea that this sort of shit is going on, and it's not even connected. I could have lived with that one.
Yeah, the connection
It
to the
kind of
Black
was.
Knight
It's just,
and Blade
it's
was
not
probably the best.
like, oh, they have to be tied with other people. It's just they've been here, they've been
Yeah,
off the grid because they're not doing what they're supposed to be told to do, and they're just living life until they get orders. It's not
yeah,
like hey, we influence this, we influence that. They influence
yeah,
history to progress humans, but they
yeah.
didn't influence anything to do with superheroes. That's
I will
just
say this.
that
I
shit
I,
happened.
I did to your point there, John. I do really like the fact that when you find out exactly what their purpose is, that was actually really good. That's sort of like
But
a genre bend, if you will. You know what I mean? That was actually really cool.
I think part of the superhero thing was part of their design as well because they were like pushing history, you know.
Mhm. Yeah, and they became those myths that sort of superheroes were supposed to have evolved from.
Yeah, like
You know,
everybody was part of a specific myth because these are people that people seen through history, so obviously
right.
word of mouth happens.
Yeah,
That's
But
funny that
when
like
you think about it, oh, what
the
point was I gonna make
pantheons
with
being
this?
them.
yeah.
Yeah. What point was I gonna get towards this? I totally forgot. But it was like the only thing I saw wrong, because I think this was a pretty good movie for what it was, because it's opening the door for other things, such as we know Marvel's gonna do some space stuff, so dealing with celestials and things, that could be one portion, but now we also have the mythical realm stuff that we're getting with the Black Blade, with Black Knight. We're getting
Yeah.
Blade. We're getting Moon Knight,
Moon
which
Knight.
trailer
Ooh,
just
that looks
was
nice.
spotted today.
Yeah.
So we could be getting some things to dealing with dark entities and things like that.
Venom,
So it's like
Mobius.
this is introducing
I'm
stuff
thinking
that
Mephisto. Yeah.
I wouldn't even say Mephisto, but we can be getting, hey, bring my boy Robbie Reyes back. We can
Hell
have
yeah.
Robbie Reyes, Black Knight, Blade, fucking, Doctor
Ooh,
Strange.
like the Defenders almost. Like
Kind of,
veteran
yeah.
Defenders.
Can I come
But I feel
back?
like this is just like, hey,
Oh
Not
yeah, yeah.
Defenders,
these are
Midnight
directions
Suns.
that this can go.
Yeah, Midnight Suns.
Yeah, Midnight Suns. Midnight Suns will definitely be dope, especially since they're coming out with a Midnight Suns game next year.
You're good, Modar. Yeah, Nate,
I
you're,
am
you're
I am here.
yeah.
Yeah, please only refer to me as my D&D character, so as
I'm
not to
sorry.
break my immersion. No, I'm kidding. No, please. I need you to call me Modar, or else I can't. Well,
Justify wearing all that blue paint.
mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Better than the gold paint. Hard to breathe.
Believe it.
You don't want to be that person from that James Bond movie who suffocated in the paint.
Did that new James Bond movie come out yet?
Yeah, like a month ago, I think.
They're still
It
advertising.
came out at a weird time.
Yeah. I'm kind of getting sick of like having like these in theater only, and I know that's terrible, but I liked it when I could stream my stuff to my 4K giant TV.
I like going to the movies, but sometimes it's nice to be able to pause.
Yeah.
That's why I saw Doom twice. But yeah, if given the option, unless it's a movie that I really need to see in the theater, I'll just watch it here or pay for it and watch it on my couch.
What did you think about? Did everybody see Doom?
I haven't. I don't know if I'm gonna actually see it, but
Did you ever see? Did you ever see the '80s David Lynch one?
Fucking Sting.
Yeah. Hell yeah, Kyle MacLachlan, all of that. Friggin' Picard
Patrick
was in
Stewart,
it.
yeah.
Like it was so
terrible.
During the '80s, it was panned. It was like horrible, but it got this cult following. And at a certain point, everyone realized it's a really good movie, but it's really out there. And they sort of shoved as much as they humanly could into, I think, like about a 3.5 hour running time.
It's the studio involvement version, you know?
Yeah. So, but at the same time, listen, as opposed to getting nothing, I would have rather had that Dune movie. I was telling my wife though, like when we watched this Dune, and at a certain point, I was like, because I didn't light it part two. You know, I was like, as far as I knew, this was it. I was like, okay. But as the runtime is coming to an end, I was kind of like, you guys haven't even gotten like halfway through this. And then I realized, okay, this has to be a part one and a part two that they're doing. So that's it. But it's good. It's involved. They're a little heavy-handed. Like they're mentioning things but they started off with like, don't start off with with certain things. Like stop mentioning like, certain things. Like let that evolve.
They only have a certain amount of time. They didn't know if they were going to get greenlit for the second one, so they had to they kind of Lord of the Rings did, where they picked and chose the most screen, I guess, translationable things. Like they skipped the whole importance of his mother being who she is and the relationship she had with the father and that whole dynamic and like his father in general.
But that's
none of it really mattered, you know, because you could move the plot forward without it.
Yeah, I think it's because in certain cases, and don't get me wrong, it's not a fast movie by any standard, but at the same time,
I think it's a thick book, and you have to pick and choose.
Oh yeah, but they curated it in a particular way where it's sort of like it's like that rule. It's like show me, don't tell me. Show me. There's a lot of exposition where it's kind of like, oh yeah, and there's a reason why your father never married your mom. And it's like, dude, just show me the relationship, that it's a genuine relationship, like just through their acting. Don't tell me like.
I think he does a pretty good job of that. I'm a big fan of his films. Blade Runner 2049. I honestly think he's better than the original Blade Runner.
Sacrilege, but I get it.
And I think even movies like Sicario, which I thought was good. It wasn't great just because of the ending, but like he's a very action, take a breather afterwards, like reaction kind of filmmaking. I thought this fit that a bit.
It's a good movie. It was definitely a good movie. I got to tell you, I'm super hyped.
Don't get me wrong, it had its flaws, but
but I mean, I'm hyped because the thing is, if you know where the story's going, I'm hyped to see the second part. And I'm hyped for people who've never read it and never seen the original movie or never read the book or any of the sequels to see what their reaction is to the second half of that story. And unfortunately, we have to wait another 2 years to get it, but it's so worth it. I'll say the one thing that I really enjoy is the fact that I had no idea who this what's this kid's name? Timothy Chalamet. I've no.
Apparently, he's been in a
no,
bunch of other movies, and he's like fantastic in them. But
I'm like, I was like, I have no idea who this kid is. So for me, I just saw Paul Atreides, which was cool. You know what I mean? I was just like, my nieces were all like all over the place, and I was like, I don't know who this guy is. I don't give a fuck. But like this, apparently the kid can act, which is good.
yeah.
If you want to see him in a really good movie, watch Beautiful Boy.
I don't think that's a movie I'd watch.
You should give it a shot.
Okay, maybe I will. Wait. Is that the one that was shot like 7 years? Or am I thinking about something else? Like someone actually ended up shooting some kid growing up. Like a director actually did this. No. It's a different movie. That guy that did.
This one has Steve Carell.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking about a different one. Sorry about that. Didn't mean to get off track.
No, you're good. So, with those
He's in that new Wes Anderson movie.
with those perception checks, Modar, you're easily able to start denoting that some of the tracts of lands you can tell very easily still old mining sites, people that are still occasionally visiting. Some of the older routes that are still being traded upon. You see a few caravans and such heading out towards Belenalico and even trying to get further south from here. There is one thing that does stand out to you as you are heading southward. An area that looks like old weathered trees that have recently been overtaken by the desert once again. It seems to proceed further and further in, where the desert is trying to choke back the forest once more. Somehow trees of full greenery that shouldn't have been able to grow here seem to have gone in full bloom and then were torn down by some of the biting winds from the desert and the sand trying to erode them back down.
Similar to the story we heard about how the weapon itself was growing plants. Alright, I mean, I pass this along to my party. I point out where it is, and that I think that that's, if nothing else, a good place to start. But I again say caution. What we should do is fly over, maybe a little bit over a half mile above it, and I'm going to try and do a more in-depth scan with the 2 eyes that I have out, if everyone is amenable.
Okay.
I want. Is it this kind of like a circle? Is it like, looking at it from the top down, what sort of shape is this forest, for lack of a better word, that has sprung up in the middle of the desert in all of these like mining areas?
So this dehydrated looking forest that has been kind of washed back by the sand. It looks like it does spread out more from the center and then has a break when it seems to continue in a line, like something has traveled initially to a certain degree, stopped, and then immediately started spreading the circle once again, almost like incentivizing the forest and the green to grow back and fight back against the desert.
Okay, so 2 distinct points connected by a thin line.
Yes.
I want to send one of my eyes into one and one into the other, and then they're going to meet in the middle at that small, like, thin bridge after each combing through their sections. So you see Modar closing his eyes. He has both of his hands out, one of them holding the jar, which is glowing slightly, and he's seeing through eyes that are far away.
So, as you do see Modar focusing on this, you do see the occasional flit of birds that don't seem native to this area, and then also almost like a larger swarm of insects that seem to be creeping forward from the sands themselves and starts to gnaw at the very roots of some of these trees, almost like a pestilence that's almost sickeningly biting back at the earth itself and chewing its way through the landscape of life.
as you peer through, trying to find anything that is distinctual to this barrening landscape before you, as it seems to almost be blighted and suffering in its own way. You can see what looks like skeletons that have been resurfaced in a way, and more in the sense of they were combating something, a swarm pulled from the ground and earth itself. Seeing through the eyes and looking through this partial greenery grove that's before the continuing line, you see what seems like the pestilence, these insects that have been cut down in swaths, along with more of the grainy sand that should be, as you know, smoother and more easy to sift through. It's sort of choked by dirt and some water, as you start to take note that there is an oasis at the center that's now slowly being blighted by this plague of insects. But you also see that these insects are not successful in blighting the pool, as there are a curious grouping of birds. For the bird itself, it doesn't look native to this land, as you'd seen. Some of you on the ship can see these birds flitting around in beautiful ultraviolet purple. But for their beaks and everything, more stunted faces with beautiful luminous eyes and almost butterfly-like wings to it. Which that's what you see through the eyes, Modar. Let me grab a picture for you. These seem to be trying to tend the groves that they are currently within, as it is a battle between the desert and everything else that's going on. They seem to be enjoying and feasting upon the insects that seem more pestilent, but they don't seem to have any issue with these bugs and are seemingly having the time of their life between keeping them out of the waters and basically assaulting them the moment they break surface and eating them heartily and making nests.
Is it like balance?
It seems like an aggressive balance, almost like nature itself understands the fact that something here has to break in the lines, and almost like two lines of nature in an ironic sense has been drawn in the sand and is now tending backwards and trying to forcefully turn this desert back into greenery. If you want to, you can go ahead and roll me a survival or nature for that.
Okay.
Very fitting.
I'll take that.
All of us have to roll?
Only those who want to.
Oh,
Yeah, so I'm
okay.
basically describing all of this like out loud, even as I'm seeing it. And both of the I'll call them points, to better describe them. The points of this greenery seem the same, like the ecology is the same. They're not different one to the other.
For that, they do seem unique to each other. You can definitely tell that the insects seem much more natural versus the birds.
Okay.
The insects, as for their look, the very things that the birds are biting back against. Almost like a scorpion cicada that seems to fester within the desert itself. But especially with the
full and more intimate knowledge of this, as the 15 would be just enough, and then the 25 nature, as these creatures are more exotic and rare, both of them, ironically. In the fact of the birds are limerins, and you know these more or less to be Feywild birds. They are minuscule Fey, and they are guardians of the young. They have more of a fondness for Fey and the youth of creatures, and gather in mass swarms like this with short-lived lives that have potent magical abilities, and obviously seem to be tasking themselves with tending this grove and trying to bring more distinct beauty and helping this greenery survive the harshness of this environment. To which, in the same, the bugs themselves are curiously enough Fey in distinction as well. So it almost seems like the Fey itself is trying to correct a mistake that inadvertently itself had caused. You know, these are pestilent little creatures, these diseased insects. They are the bringer of plagues and the destroyers of crops. These small fly-like insect cicadas with their stingers and such. They will strip landscapes bare if given enough time. And go ahead and roll me an insight for everyone as you kind of listen to this story. Hilariously enough, very quickly comes to Jin's realization, and then Modar and Thalos, followed by Ramus and Rain. With that, it does start to dawn on you the story that Fervor had originally shared with you, that his grandfather, the Emerald Knight who had been curator of this glaive, had been originally blamed due to the pestilence of this land, and said to be the reason that this exists and it came to be, and he caused it to sweep across and start destroying the border, making it harder to travel between Smindo and the Southern Kingdom to its border. And the fact that it almost seemingly will start to imbibe in the rest of the land and slowly wash over the rest of the continent. Now comes to your full attention realization that in the stories of this, if it had been that long ago and the greenery had been pushed back this horribly, especially in this expanse, that his grandfather might have been trying to stave off this pestilence, or even maybe close whatever portal these creatures came from. Now, curiously enough...
Shit, so magical corruption?
A different kind of magical corruption. Something that had come from another dimension. A ironically invasive species through a portal and then spread like wildfire as it was unabated without natural predator. It seemed whatever Furr's grandfather, the original Emerald Knight, seemed to be trying to maybe fully stomp out whatever caused this pestilence to rise up here. Something else seems to...
You made it worse.
Yep, and now something else seems to have fully taken up that task itself.
Something deep within the swamp. Or
Shit, I smell another quest.
I think we're going to have to get closer. I'm not able to see or find either the portals or any of the sources with just my arcane eyes. I mean, to be able to be on the ground and sense it, most likely.
Well, the closer it is.
bring us down.
Alright.
Onward, mighty flying boat steed.
So, pursuing forth over this landscape, following the little trickling clues of these warring birds and pestilences, you start following greener and greener sections, and you start to see fountains of water that complement these areas as they seem to be ever expanding and growing further and further in. It reaches a point where you do see, beyond the expanses you're going through the forest, areas of the trees that look fresher, that have been possibly accidentally broken from the size of it. An area of the forest where it looks like something had briefly taken flight as you are searching out through the day. It does.
I wonder what that could be.
It does appear to have some distance still, as it starts to slowly shift from day to dusk at this point. You're going to try and pursue through the night, or take a bit of time to rest and have Paul Yang keep heading in that direction for the night?
I don't know, I feel like traveling at night is very dangerous with these creatures and stuff.
Would we have to put down, or can we just like hover through the night?
You could hover through the night.
I would say we continue on.
I agree.
Alright.
We need a tiebreaker.
We'll flip a coin for the rain.
Alright.
I guess roll for her.
Highs are stay, lows are stop, or lows are go.
Lows per go,
Okay.
highs per stay.
Okay. Highs for stay.
Stay and rest for the night.
Okay.
Alright. So, Paul Gang will park up the ship. Dia now.
I cast alarm several times.
They will keep watch. You do see occasionally the Limerans occasionally will land on the ship, curiously looking around. For you, Modar, it's probably a little more stressful having a bird that is able to cast spells, as they occasionally land and you see them with their very curious nature casting dancing lights at this point as well, as you are parked up and just resting for a time to gather yourselves.
Do they disturb the griffins at all?
The griffins themselves occasionally try and snap at them as like snacks, as they're still small. They don't seem to take any heed with that. Obviously, nature still being nature. Though you do hear something spoken out curiously. Does anyone know Elvish or Sylvan?
Elvish,
I
yes.
do.
We have two people who speak Elvish.
3
There's
people.
rain.
Alrighty. So, with that,
Rain do speak Elvish.
Thalos.
as you hear the griffin snap its beak at one of the Lymeran, immediately in response, Rudrun, you do not snap at sisters.
What?
The bird is talking in Sylvan.
I
I didn't catch. He said something about snapping at sisters.
Because the griffin tried to eat the Lymeran.
I say, and in Elvish, I say, wait, do you speak the tongue?
Yes, I speak the tongue. Very familiar from Fae, I
And
am.
is standing there with a dumbfounded look at the bird and then Thalos.
You see it like ruffles up and then like little pip 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 over the side of the rail and gets closer to you. Does a little dancing lights so it can see better.
Who are you?
I spread my arms wide. Talos Helgard. Of this realm. And you?
Spring. Does a little ruffle of its feathers to display itself and puff up a little bigger.
Well met, Speak. And look to Jin, just to make sure he's following. Like the conversation.
He's still looking at them dumbfounded like, the bird can talk?
Of course I talk. Learn from elders. Ones like yours.
I'm Jin. And I'm assuming my brain-dead sister over there can understand you too. That's Rain.
I'd imagine she's probably trying to not melt from cuteness at this point.
And then we got Modar and Ramus.
I don't understand shit. I'm just sitting around picking my nails or something.
Modar is looking intently, but he does not understand anything. Actually, he's probably Modar is actually ritually casting tongues. Oh, tongues isn't a ritual spell, and I don't have it prepared. But
No!
Modar is actively preparing tongues.
What do I do? What do I do? Meanwhile, Kuposhak is just chilling there like, oh yeah.
Oh wait, no, that was rain sheet. Hold on, I might have tongues prepared. No, fuck, I don't have it prepared.
Hey, wait, that was a rain sheet. Hold on.
No, I still
Let me
don't have it.
check.
Modar is desperately tugging on Rain's shoulder to teach him tongues, so he can put it in. Like I can't. I need to know what's happening.
Jin pats Modar's shoulder. It's okay. It's okay. It's a bird that can talk.
I am not a huge fan of that. It can also cast magic. Keep an eye on it, please.
Oh. Well, shit. Bird, are you a hostile bird?
Hostile?
What are you saying to it?
Why would I be hostile?
Asking if it's bad.
Don't do that. That might piss it off.
I'm not bad. You are sitting on Bigger Bird. Bird friend.
Bigger bird is friend.
Yes. Safe space
So what
to
brings
sleep.
you to us?
Safe sleep.
You want to watch us sleep?
No. Safe sleep.
And
Oh, you're just wishing us a safe sleep.
you could see, like, all around the ship, there's, like, more and more Lemurians are starting to sit down on, like, the bow, the deck, the rails, and all over the sails and other parts of the ship.
It's safe for you here. Why is it unsafe out there?
Exhausting. Must eat. Small swarm. Insects. Very tasty, but not hungry right now. Need sleep.
Jin's gonna trust them to let them rest on the ship.
Point to the
Somewhat of a good feeling. Somewhat of a good feeling.
Does the ship have a proper sort of mast and a crossbar?
For that, yes. It has the full mast, crossbar, and sails going on.
Okay. In that case, Talos points up towards the crossbar, saying, "Rest your wings. Please do not poop on our ship."
Please do not poop on the ship.
We'll try not to.
Please don't.
Brothers and sisters, more irresponsible.
Perhaps you can stay and tell us more about your brothers and sisters.
We are here to get rid of the swarm.
What brought you here to get rid of the swarm?
The Archon.
The
Where
Archon.
Do you
I
know
say
where the
that-
swarm is coming from? It's coming from?
Archon calls us. Says we need to help fix this. We agree, it's tasty. has the big shiny green stone stick.
Wait, one more time?
A big shiny green stone stick.
Where is it?
Where did you last see it?
Further south.
Was someone with it?
No. Kept calling old sleeping graves to assist in getting rid of the swarm as it grew.
Oh, okay. Alright. I guess our mission's changed. We help get rid of this, then we could probably get the staff. Because it seems to be helping the war effort here.
Perhaps we could talk. Do we know who or what has it?
Said that it's not being. The bird said that it's not with anyone. It said that it's just there, calling for help on its own.
Oh, I thought they said there was an Archon.
Yes, the Archon was
ordered. We solved this issue. The glaive's probably ours. Without fighting anything we don't want to fight.
So how do we kill a whole swarm of locusts?
We close whatever source they're coming from.
And does the bird know where that is?
I don't know. I don't speak Elvish or bird.
Oh, I thought you were talking to the bird.
Does your spell? Oh, you said it's not a thing, right? So damn, I guess all of mine is out of character, unless you're channeling something that can make me understand the bird.
I would imagine.
Or are they like translating?
I would imagine like Rain or someone's translating.
Yeah,
okay.
if Jin and I are talking to it like directly, Rain's probably translating for you guys in the back.
Okay. Bird, do you know where the portal is that the bugs are coming through?
Archon.
Rain translates and makes it not sound like a cop.
Archon looking for nest? Looking for mother. Get rid of warm mother, swarm stops.
Warm mother. Uh-huh.
What does this Archon look like?
Big. Wings like mine, but made of stone. Not pretty. Still shiny stones, though. Go ahead and roll me an insight, if you'd like to. Anyone who can speak Elvish or Sylvan.
Very much like to.
Alrighty. Jin is killing it. Alright. Jin and Thalos, you're able to discern very easily that Lymerans, even though they can speak, are not the highest of intelligence. So a lot of the very broken language back and forth between being more simplified, you get the sense that it's describing kind of like stone between the stick, and it doesn't have the concept of metal fully.
Right.
And that maybe this whole thing is entirely made of metal, and especially for the various magic and other pieces it uses, it definitely has the Emerald Knight's glaive in hand as well to match. But it does stand quite mightily tall. No, I was just going to say it's quite mightily tall. Its eyes glow like the Lymerans, and seems to be intent on culling other Lymeran swarms as it makes more groves and oases, and seems to have a destination in mind.
Well, I think it's fair to assume that this Archon is the inevitable.
Yeah. Like I said, it sounds like it took the glaive because there was a problem that needed solving. And if we solve the problem, they probably don't need the glaive anymore. And that'll be our way around taking it without
fighting this inevitable, as well as helping people.
Agreed. I don't know if we can talk to this thing, but it would be nice as an ally against the demons, but that's a whole other thing.
Does the bird have any... No, it's not like connected, is it? It's just called by the staff.
And you sense the Archon, I ask.
Is it a creature, or is it completely made of stone and metal?
Stone and metal.
Do constructs count as creatures?
For that, if you're going by the technicality, it would still fall under construct section, unless it is archetype like a Warforged.
But is it a creature? Not a beast, not like a thing, but does it fall under creature?
By definition, yes.
Okay. I should, emphasis on should, no guarantees, be able to locate both the swarm mommy thing and the big scary stone bird. I just need to prepare the spells.
For some reason that doesn't sound very comforting, Modar.
Look, so one is easier than the other. I could locate the swarm mother beast thing because it is a specific kind of animal. And I can do that within 5 miles. So that'll be pretty easy so long as we're above, say, the center of one of these spots, and if it's near there, we'll be able to find it. More difficult is this Archon. I could locate it, but only within 1,000 feet, which is not a very big area of effect, and it's a much more powerful spell, so I can only cast it so many times in a day.
What the birds are telling us, it may be easy enough to track without you using, your spellcraft.
So what are we going after first, the Archon or the Bug Mother?
Bug Mother.
Alright, then I'll prepare that tonight. Nothing else to, point us in the right direction to head.
I looked to Pit. Wait, was it Pit? Spit? No.
Spig. S-P-I-G.
Spig. I looked to Spig, and I asked, Spig, will you help us find the mother of this infestation? Or must you stay here with your flock?
Could try.
Then we welcome you to stay.
Only seen few bug mothers. Some big. Requires help.
Have you faced one here?
No. But someone might have. Archon was not happy with it.
Why was he not happy with? Was it? Oh wait, I'm sorry. Is Spig saying that the Archon wasn't happy with one of the birds that may have seen the bug mother, or was it not happy with the bug mother?
Not happy with the bug mother.
Gotcha.
Makes sense.
Especially for the fact that these are all fey creatures. These things shouldn't even be in the material plane.
Good ideas here now. This is very much falls under his purge it with fire. You don't belong here.
I know. Well, fucking go figure. He misses the whole desert section.
Yeah, right. But wait a second.
That's his luck, honestly.
If this thing is supposed to maintain, I guess, divine order, why is it trying to create life where there should be none?
I'm not convinced that it is an Archon or an inevitable. Our
But it sounds like
That actually brings up a point. Is an Archon something that Modar has heard of? That is a distinct concept.
Roll me a history or religion.
I imagine anybody can do this as well.
Yes.
Please be set as me and not as Rain. Nice.
Oof.
Ramus pulling out the history book. Thalos, he's been in the forest.
Is this Archon a type of nut? Or a berry? Perhaps?
It's a legume, actually.
It's a legume.
So, Modar and Ramus, both of you are familiar that Archons are celestial beings. The fact that this one is entirely metal doesn't make sense. Like, there's definitely celestial angels that are made of being constructs in celestial energy. Though the fact that this thing doesn't seem to have any emanations of being celestial itself and just comprised of metal. Maybe someone made it and just called it Archon?
Oh, so it's more just golem.
Megaduce.
This is some sort of construct masquerading as a celestial, or possibly celestial empowered, more likely Feywild empowered.
Still, I think they're trying to restore the green to the desert.
They seem to have good on their mind.
And this thing is eventually going to overtake this whole land anyway, so I think we're still probably, hopefully, doing the right thing.
This
Unless
does
you
lead
guys
into
want to
question.
see this thing first.
That kind of leads me to want to see it first, just so we can get a read on it. But also, if it's as dire as it says it is, then maybe time is of the essence.
I don't know.
Perhaps we sleep on it and vote in the morning.
Yeah, I guess.
No matter what, we're going after
I'm
this
still
thing.
going for bug first, but
If we still have two that are, if we still have two people that are prominently bug first, then Modar can go along with that, so long as Jin is not adamantly wanting to beat the Archon. Jin, buddy.
I don't. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Jen.
Sorry, what was that?
We're saying go find the bug, at least one of the bug swarm mothers, or the Archon first. We have 2 votes for Archon. I'm ambivalent unless you feel strongly about going to see the Archon.
Would going after the bug mother help the birds out?
That's from what they say, but we're not sure we don't know the end goal of this thing. So we don't know what helping the birds will eventually do.
I don't know. I'm kind of in favor of helping the birds.
All right, then we plan to help the birds, and I'll prepare, detect, or I will prepare to locate animals or plants.
All right. So, obviously you can bed down for the night. Spig and most of the flock kind of bed down on the ship, and there's a few others you can see in the trees down below still. But they seem to decorate the ship quite vibrantly with their multicolor, almost butterfly-esque feathers and wings that are just scintillating blue and purple across the entirety of the ship. Hear the occasional peeps as they still talk to each other back and forth. The occasional argument in Sylvan, which is funny enough to hear. It sounds like children arguing. Move over, not enough space. Hey, stop pecking me. And then, funny enough, as the open galley at the lower sections of the ship, you see Kuposhak covered in them, and seemingly speaking in bird. You just hear the occasional just back to them. Just with relative ease. Do you see the...
Speak the language?
I mean, of course. I'm from the Fae.
You never run out of surprises, do you, little one?
I'm a forest gnome for a reason. I haven't seen these little guys in forever. It's like being back home.
I look to Modar to gauge his reaction.
Modar is subtly taking notes on the fact that Ku has revealed his home plane. A detail Modar has never been able to locate previously.
Never been able to nail down. I got the fucker! God!
But it's very subtle. It's
Yeah.
very subtle. Just like, oh, I'm taking...
But definitely starts to show a little bit more of his own tricksy nature, and the fact that being a forest gnome, growing up in the Feywild, especially if this is very commonplace, and this is not even disturbing to him, like, he's very obviously very comfortable with these creatures. Leaves you to wonder, what else did he do in the Feywild if this is commonplace? Obviously, everyone else is able to bed down. He's able to get the Lemurian to make sure that they stay on the rope railing and at least on the back of chairs and not anywhere else on the tables. This it would be. He tells them it would be rude. And see that Nira, D, and Artris are kind of just taking this in. Drakehound is occasionally trying to eat one or two of them as they get close enough. You can see that they almost like playing a game of chicken with him. Trying to see who gets eaten today.
He's having fun. Let him go ahead.
You can definitely see, especially for the more natural, like, Feywild environment that's kind of being played out on top of the Ship of the Birds here. Even though it's very clearly there is a possible chance of death involved here as they taunt Drakehound. It's very much of like a cat taunting a dog, of just, haha, you can't get me. Oh my god, you coming. You can't get me, but yes, you're gonna get me. Very fun little back and forth through the night of that. Until finally he is tired and just finally will lay down for the night. So,
I would take first watch.
Alright.
I'll take the earliest morning watch, fourth watch.
So, go ahead and roll me perceptions for those who are spending the night between the chirping Lemurian birds and all the other noises and the beautiful dancing lights that they occasionally seem to throw up and kind of have dance around the ship, almost like they're playing a game with it.
Yeah, baby.
Rain also has a passive perception of 24.
You see occasionally that there are some of them playfully casting hypnotic pattern at each other just so they could dazzle each other.
You're trying to put each other to sleep.
Who needs bright plumage when you can do that?
Brandon seems they got it, so he goes down to rest. Wake me up so somebody doesn't have to, I guess whoever's going to take, what would it be, second watch? Third watch? I'll do third watch with them, I guess.
Alright. So.
Hey, how do we update our passive? Actually, you know what? I'll ask you afterward.
Alright.
if you have a bonus to, if you have a specific skill that buffs your passive perception, you can add that modifier in the gear section.
Correct.
All the way at the bottom middle column. It's the very last thing.
In Roll20?
Yeah,
yes,
in
sir.
the little gear section on the character sheet.
Okay, got it.
So, the midst of the night, obviously on the open desert, it's easy to see a good expanse forward, even with the fresh greenery that seems to be cropping up out of nowhere. You do take note as you go through the various watches, occasionally a little bit of distraction for some with the beautiful feathers and the scintillating colors that are occasionally going on. Thalos, on your shift, you actually do take note that you do see further out on this stretch of expanded arid land a few more patches of forest that seem to have cropped up in the distance, just the greenery kind of dotting across the horizon of the landscape where you can see. And you do see one dot kind of fly up and a little further away, followed by the occasional glint of dancing lights in the distance.
Would I imagine that would be more of the birds?
For that, it's easy enough to discern that it's definitely more Lemurians. The larger dot, would be way too big for Lemurian. You assume that at that far, far stretch of distance that you could see just on the horizon might be the Archon.
And it's just flown off a little bit further, right?
Yep, just recently, but you could tell it doesn't seem to go intensely far comparative to each grove it's starting to make intend.
Well, to the next one. Alright, I make note of it and the time and the direction.
Alrighty.
And I pass it on to whomever catches the next watch. I also make it a point that that's the direction we should head in the morning. I'll inform whoever's next on watch to inform Modar, or just to make sure that message goes down the line.
Alright. With that, definitely southeast in that direction. And watching out over this expanse the rest of the night is mostly hearing the birds argue, occasionally casting their spells, and then someone's a major smartass and casts sleep on one of the group, and they all just fall asleep cuddled up to each other on the fucking masts and wings of the ship. Can tell with these birds that it's just no end of trickery.
They're kind of jerks, huh?
I would definitely say with your background, Ramus, you know that the Feywild, some are jerks, definitely. Others are, well, they say it's more the playfulness and the fun. Definitely could be perceived as being a genuine asshole for some of them. The Feywild is a place of intense magic and lots of playful tricks. Yeah.
Fuckity-wuckityness.
As to the level of those tricks, yes, some could definitely turn to a much more harmful degree. But as far as you could tell for the Limerian birds, it's definitely more on the fact of just being playful with each other, even though they are, being pesky.
Like siblings.
Pretty much. Cut to Jin.
So Jin's knocked out.
Yeah, so's Ramus, so I guess it doesn't matter because he sees nothing because he's sleeping.
Alright. So, with all that, the night does pass peacefully, you're able to have a beautiful early morning as the Lemurians are chittering along with each other and talking, just discussing which bugs they should eat, where they should go, how far they should go from the grove. You can hear them talking about, east, north, other opposite directions, letting the swarm come in and eat like one or two trees and then just ambushing them and getting a big meal all at once. But very easily able to set out in the southeastern direction that you had seen last night, the massive figure in the sky. As you very quickly head in that direction, you do see at the southwestern direction a very large figure, black in silhouette, traveling across the desert. And you think it's a caravan at first when you initially spot it, especially for the amount of dust that's being kicked up, until you see that it starts to burrow down and you see occasional larger rocks start to heave and throw.
I was just kidding about the worm country thing.
For that, you can go ahead and roll me a survival if you want to try and identify that bad boy. So, with that, you do take note. Something you didn't exactly believe in, you don't know too much about. You thought it mostly just to be fanciful myth at this point. A gargantuan scorpion.
Is there anything with it, or?
Far as you can tell, doesn't seem like anything's with it. You only know it to be basically like a gargant scorpion, one of titanic size comparatively. A lot of caravans have avoided it, but as far as you know, knowledge-wise, especially with the overall nature of it, because curiously enough, it is a naturally occurring creature within this region, and especially with the more arid lands that had expanded further out, allowed it to go more rapid. But you also know that they usually aim for much bigger game.
This doesn't look like the source, does it?
Not at all. These ones are naturally occurring creatures, even if they are monstrosity size.
Why would we bother?
No, just something you spotted out in the morning.
Oh, just...
Well,
hold on.
Wait a second here, Witcher. You don't want a trophy? Just asking.
We've kind of got a goal. Maybe we should do that first.
Okay.
Duly noted.
I'm gonna hit locate animals or plant on the Swarm Mother as we're continuing forward in the direction that we last saw the Archon go, but we might as well be searching for both along the way.
Alright.
I can ritually cast that.
And what's the distance on that?
Up to 5 miles.
5 miles? Alright.
But it's the closest one, and I only learned the direction just
So with that, you are very easily able to detect that you are definitely heading in the right direction, as you have been informed that it's called Archon, and it's very easy to tie down between the description of what was given to you and the fact that it's a very large uniqueness in the area.
Well, this specific one, I'm looking for the Swarm Mother.
Alright, so the Swarm Mother...
Because we have the direction from Dallas.
within
Southwest.
Click
southwest.
So with that, within the 5-mile radius, you do not pick up on the Swarm Mother.
So.
What?
I will wait till we pass at least 5 miles.
Alrighty.
Hey, Josh, can we determine from where I saw the Archon potentially leap or fly off to the southwest, have we passed the area that I saw it leave from?
Yes, you do. And especially crossing over, you could see that this grove is definitely far more lush and fresh and fertile in the current state that it's in. The water is untainted. A lot of the Lemurian birds that are there are washing over quite quickly and even pecking away at a lot of the swarm or the, plague that has basically been pestilent towards the rest of the greenery. You do see there are even flowers this time. Occasional plants cropping up from there. Though you also do take note that you also see the scattering of old bones from people who've either traversed the desert or probably something from the past that you're not entirely sure of. That's it, just kind of reared from the desert here.
I wonder how quickly these new lands end up being infested after they're created.
You do know that the Archon was a good distance, a few days away from Belanolico.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one was just being washed over when it was a few days old, but you could tell that it was slowly absorbed once again, not directly.
What about this one that we're passing through right now? You said it's fresher. And if this is the area that he just left, I mean, has it been overrun yet, or...
Not in the slightest. It looks like the pestilence can't even get into that grove yet. Like, they're waiting for the creatures there to be exhausted first.
I wonder if we waited there, if eventually the mother would try to come out and, like, try to take it over. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I mean, if we've got a spell that's taken us towards it, I guess, why not try and find it? We don't know what's going to happen if we wait and it ends up somewhere completely different. That's just my opinion about it. But...
No, that's true.
If we're looking for both and we know where one is, let's go to the one that we know where it is.
Okay.
Alright.
Because otherwise we would have to just, like, leave it and come back later. Let's go see what's up with this fucking Archon.
So, traveling further on in the correct direction, a little bit faster this day, as you have full sense of its direction and location now, especially with Paul Game behind the helm, easily able to keep pace. A lot of the Lemurian birds have happily jumped ship. You see one or two are still mucking about in Kuposhek's kitchen, and he's just talking to them the whole time as he's making, breakfast and other food for everyone.
They come along?
What was that?
Oh, did Spig decide to stick around and come along?
Yep. Spig is chilling out by Polgain, even though Polgain has no idea what Spig is saying. Just seems to be literal chatterbox the whole time.
It's intention, right? And their intentions are good.
For now. Well, ask Spig if he senses anything in the air. Is he hearing any chatter from his from the fellow Lemurians out there?
Some confused, some still getting used to a new home. Trying to find a better tree to sit in.
if you hear anything about Bug Mother's approach, you let us know.
Bug Mother's approach. Run. Too small to fight Bug Mother.
We don't see any flocks of them like flying off in the distance. I'm just trying to find like any sort of potential sign of any of their flocks in danger out in the horizon in any which direction. That's what I'm keeping my eye out on.
Mm-hmm. As for that, it doesn't seem like any are being fully perturbed or thrown off by what's going on. You can tell that many of them seem to be fairly happy with the growth, trying to tend it as best as they can as they go around. Especially for your knowledge of fey creatures, since they've been summoned here, they don't have too much to fear, as if they were to become harmed or by technicality die, they would just be sent back to the Feywild from here. So you know full well that even though these creatures are being summoned from the Feywild directly and kind of left there to amass and try and handle as much as the swarm as they can, they almost seem like a temporary flow stopper. As you do get closer to your destination, heading to the southeast, out a very large expanse of sand, open desert, you see a few trees start to crop up. A few that are very clearly fresh, and then the occasional boom of something as you see dirt fly across the desert, almost like something exploded from the earth. And you see the extraordinarily tall figure. The 25 feet seem to had undercut it. Looks more realistically either between 35 and 40 feet tall.
Wait, did it land?
Didn't seem to land, but it seemed to have caused the earth to erupt in two spots, as you now see a font of water filling up. And I will move you over. Obviously, you're not. I would assume you're not touching down just yet, but I just put you on the map to have you there. And from this gargantuan size, you can see this immaculately crafted Archon, though it seems like it has an open chassis. As to one is a towering shield. The back is beautifully, regally wreathed wings, entirely made of full iron, as well as the weapon, not the warhammer that you see in hand, but the emerald glaive. As you see it looking around and wiping through the ground, and seems to be focusing on casting some form of ritual, you see the emerald glaive illuminate for a time, as you start to see small billows and tufts of grass start to crop up from the glaive, and then starts to spread from the oasis further out. Starts to erupt a few more trees from the ground. Starts churning the sand and forcefully gripping it and turning it to mud, to dirt, and then covering it over again with more beautiful grassland as it starts pulling up stone and making harder terrain to walk upon and for the trees to grip onto. As you bear witness to this underneath your ship, it slams the butt end of the haft of the glaive down into the ground. And you see the rest of it finally turn to a beautiful greenery.
Oh, damn.
But we were looking for the thing and we ended up finding this.
Mm-hmm. This was the route that you were originally upon. And it seems to be in the same directional path.
Oh, so it's not there yet, but it's in the pathway?
It's going there. It doesn't seem to fully acknowledge your ship. Like, it has an understanding that your ship is not hostile and seems to continue focusing on its work. As for the glittering swarms that you see flying around it that reflect almost immaculate colors, beetles of prismatic kind. They seem more natural, and they don't seem to really be bothering the Archon. As you watch them flit about and start munching and lackadaisically landing on some of the plant and greenery that is now surrounding this area of the glade. Are you going to continue on the path ahead of the Archon? Or are you going to touch down?
Okay, the thing is definitely coming here now, isn't it?
It seems to be heading in the same direction that you're going towards.
No, the beast is, or whatever it is, probably going to come here. No?
Possibly. You know that most insect hives and all that, even magical, usually refrain from letting their queen or other leave or come to the surface unless absolutely necessitated.
So to the group, well, we were out to get it, so I'm still saying out to get it, but it's up to everybody else involved.
That thing is massive.
No, not this, but whatever's eating this up, we're still trying to go out. Yeah, I definitely don't want to fight this.
I'm assuming the friggin'... What is it? The queen of these things?
Those don't seem to be in the Archon's purview. It would be the other pestilent creatures that you had seen before. Allow me to grab them and show you real quick. It would be...
They're not here yet, you're saying?
No. These little buggers. As you do kind of debate on what to do exactly watching this situation, you do see this massive metal Archon take a knee near the glade and seemingly start praying.
Can we figure out what he's doing, or you're just gonna have to wait?
You
Does
could,
it make any signs that we might recognize who it's praying to?
And is it using the glaive as a part of it?
for that, it is definitely using the glaive for part of that. As for who he is praying to, or it, go ahead and roll me a religion for that specifically. And if you want to try and hear what the prayer is, go ahead and roll me a perception.
Let me say Rain should roll that. Let me see about here.
Oh, we know the nosy one.
Alrighty. So, especially with the very high perception from Thalos listening as close as he can from the edge of the ship, you could tell, especially with the good mix of the religion, you realize that the symbol he's drawn out is the symbol of Melora, the forest and nature mother. The literal goddess of nature and the greenery. It seems like a beautiful swirl that's been directly made and shaped to the ground, along with the various, seems to be more Celestine sigils to match around as it seems to be praying. And the glaive itself illuminating, giving more strength, as you can see roots almost grasping at the haft and butt end of the glaive as it's resting on the ground, drawing power from it. And you can see more vibrant trees growing as it gives way to the prayer as you're listening in, Thalos.
Join me, brothers. Once again, I call upon you. I need your help to finish this task so that my family may be no longer cursed. We are close to finishing our job in Thorn Psalm Dooley.
Oh shit, isn't it the guy's grandfather?
With that, you think it might be.
Oh.
Not a prayer that of an angel would usually be making. It seems to be calling upon old comrades. As you hear this prayer, you see, even though some would consider it more heretical, old skeletons and soldier guard cropping up from the ground in swarms and taking full regiment again to make self and ready against whatever the coming tide is going to be.
I whisper like word for word the prayer as I'm hearing it, so the rest of them can hear it, and obviously see the dead rising.
Do we want to intercept this thing before it gets here, or do we wait till it gets here? I doubt when they're focused on that, it's going to attack us, no?
I don't think they're harmful to us. It looks like he's using them to, I don't know, maybe defend the land?
Yeah, I guess if we fight with, hopefully it looks good.
Well, Josh, can we see? I mean, I don't know if threat that they're actually preparing themselves for, but do we see anything on the horizon coming that might be a threat to this land?
Go ahead and give me perception at advantage, because you do have a definite height distance, an excellent view from here.
Yes.
Yeah, of course that applies to anyone else who's kind of peering over the horizon. And Modar, you are looking out in the southeastern direction. Alrighty.
Great.
God damn.
Wait, is this a good moment for Legolas? What do thine eyes see? With a enhanced, what's it called? Enhanced senses?
Yes, it is. I'll allow you to add a +4 to what you roll. as you get advantage for the distance as a rail.
Oh, it's still only 12 then, huh?
No, you would have... Oh, go ahead and roll again, because you already have advantage. And then add +4 to it.
Oh, 13.
Just one of those unfortunate sunspots at that point. But,
right in my eyes.
Yeah,
we happen to be facing east.
So, looking out upon the horizon, you do take note of one distinctive mound that sits out from the rest of the arid lands. One that you've seen the multiple mines and other locations that people have carved out from this landscape. This section of the land seems far too stretched for that. You notice that a lot of the mines had dwindled off and been left behind quite a few miles. It would be at this point that, realizing that mound in the distance, not far off, a few miles, it's definitely way too hive-like in the looks of that. It's been carved out in multiple directions. A lot of holes on the main face of the plateau, and even other mounds that seem to have been built up or coning up, almost like stalagmites towards the top of it, unnaturally in a place where it should be totally flat on the upper plateau. You get the very distinct feeling, especially from the large-looking dust clouds that roam around it, is that those aren't entirely dust clouds, but very likely whatever hive/nest that this Archon is heading towards.
My God, it's a hive.
Sandworms. Sand bugs.
That's no dust storm.
What is it? The sun's in my eyes. I can't see anything.
A swarm. I'm assuming, Ivan.
100%.
I adjust my dark forge glasses. It's a swarm, Ramus. Like we've never seen before.
Damn, maybe we do stay. When that thing reveals itself outside of the swarm, we pounce.
Maybe we should let it be known that we're allies.
And that we met its possible grandson. Would I have put that together, or not really?
It seems to be the case, especially for what you were listening. The prayer distinctly seems to be calling on old comrades. And you know from what Fervor told you that his grandfather had fought quite often in this area after he had separated from the others.
Is there any way to get a message to him without directly walking up to there?
If you have sending or anything. Because you can see the creature.
I look to to Spig.
Yes.
Tell the Archon we stand with him. We see his enemy coming. We will be ready to join the fight.
Okay. And you'll see Spig just quickly take off, flittering down towards the Archon.
Suggest we maneuver the ship and our cannon ballista thingy towards the approaching hive.
As you do see the main location of where the hive is, you do start to notice that the plateau
you thought was kind of standstill for the time is actually moving. Not at a breakneck pace, but slowly, as if it were like a moving city.
Oh, wow.
Is this thing larger or smaller than the Son of Dagon?
The nest city itself that you can see moving is larger than Dagon. Think not as granular, but back in God of War, the Temple of Pandora.
Oh.
Gotcha.
Alright, I guess we're ready for combat. This is gonna be fun.
Look back to Dia, Nira, give him the nod. Now is the time. Rain?
I imagine Rain's wings just sprout on either side of her, and she holds up fucking Heartbreaker.
Alright.
Yeah, wings come out. Ready for some action.
Man, that's so cool.
Yeah, all I gotta give up is a sword that's constantly trying to take over my body.
Just like in the back of your mind, like, I will one day. What?
Wait,
Close.
Ramus, has Rotanapar ever seen something like this before?
Has it?
Not on this scale.
Oh.
Yeah.
But
Not
does it seem familiar? Like, what it could be?
Something from the Feywild that had bled over a long time ago. A prince that was looking to lay claim to it from the Shadow Fae. The Unseelie. They gave him foolish notions that he might be able to forcefully claim this land with the assistance that he had left behind. Well, even though that prince is gone, it seems his servants were accidentally left here.
That's gonna be fun.
I don't think that's a servant.
Maybe it was at one point, but
Yeah.
Inside might be the very, well, mount he might have originally rode out of the Shadow Fae here with. Though she will be clever.
okay. Yeah, I don't know. I guess prepare for battle. We'll find out more when it happens.
Okay.
Or can we send out an eye? Nah, it's not worth it. It's coming our way anyway.
Alrighty. So, as this is proceeding forward, you do see the Archon turns about face to look up at the rest of the ship, finally fully acknowledging it. Hear the heavy rustling of metal as its wings spread, and you see a soft glittering light illuminate, almost same to that of the glaive, a soft green energy that flows from the back of it. One heavy flit as you see the trees kind of part for a moment. Starts flying up towards the ship.
Oh, the green gem aloft.
You sure?
So, as you do hold the green gem aloft, and you see the small little Merwin, the bird, on the Archon's shoulder. The wings splitting there heavily, almost rocking the ship just from the wind alone beating back. Looks down at all of you with curious-looking eyes.
Allies and members of the Rune Hold. I see that time calls for us to reassemble. Though my duty must be fulfilled here first. I cannot answer your beckon.
Well, we're here to help.
We're here to stand with you against that hive. And afterwards, will be afterwards.
Yeah, well said. Don't kill us until we're here to fight with you. Don't accidentally cleave us in half.
Very well. Make yourself ready. Voldmask is a cruel mistress, and her children are ever hungry.
What did he call her? Mosk?
Voldmask.
Oh.
Very, very odd spelling.
I've never faced a dead-ass ranger.
Facts. Chopped cheese. Battle cry.
Hymns!
And with that, we will leave off there as you start preparing for the hive.
That's gonna be
go.
interesting.
Thank you, Josh. Thanks for running. I gotta run and make a stew, but thanks so much.
Thank you. I gotta get to bed.
Enjoy the stew.
Always fucking exciting, always nuts. And now gotta fucking fight alongside an Archon. Okay, surely we will be able to best the enemy easily.
Yeah!
Surely
Definitely.
nothing bad will happen.
Not at all. Also, the Rune Swarm.
Great a fucking fuckery. Are you running? Do you have a game at midnight?
I do, but I do have some time.
Okay, I'm gonna go and pop in on the caravan for you to join.
Au revoir for now, my good friend.
Goodbye.
Auf Wiedersehen.